I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lobito!
You got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Hello, welcome everybody to the BD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad, that's right, I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, continue on part 2 of the Tank Davis Lamont Roach aftermath. Yesterday night, we had a call-in show, and this time we have a regular show with the panelists and perhaps phone lines near the end of the hour. Depends on how it goes. I really want to hear from everybody, so that's the point of this show. That's the format. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Buy Me a Coffee app. The link is in the description. I'm going to post it in the chat. Don't forget, you can also join us on Patreon for free, but it's always better if you sign up. That way we get a feel of who's who, who's where, what's what. Don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Body Love, To Matador, Alfredo Contreras, US Body, the same guy, Money Mark, Handsome Mechanic, Mars Boxeo, Loki Semi, Sergeant, Evan Deer, I think that's Dora, shout out to Dora, The Quags, shout out to The Quags, AJ92, Muellers, shout out to him, Discord is after him, by the way, Danny, Gonzalo in the chat, Alfredo Contreras, Drunk Irishman, Jay Perez, Mark T, The Viral Chronicles of Visual Scorecard Boxing, aka Steph K Boxing Science, shout out to him. I'm your leader in the house, Mohammed Amard Bruce Lee, and many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. All right, let's get this party started here. I'm gonna call a couple of people, make sure we're working and cooking with some hot grease. And we're going to talk about what happened last night, the main event. Hopefully, also the undercard. Didn't touch on the undercard yesterday because everybody had a lot to say about the main event. But as it pertains to the undercard, some surprises there too that occurred last night. So we'll see what happens there. In any event, for those of you that have been living under a rock, what we had with Gervonta Tank Davis was a draw. One judge had it 115, 113 for Davis. We're going to find out the names, by the way, of these judges. We're going to put them there because they need to be known. Everyone's going after Willis, the referee, who, by the way, yeah, we got a lot to say about him as well. But the judges, who were these people? One of them had it 115, 113 for Davis. Two others, 114, 114. And so Davis walks away with a draw, a tie. And I got to tell you, no good. I've been perusing Twitter, social media, other platforms, and I'm trying to get a feel on what people are saying about that fight. Interestingly enough, Tank Davis fans, not a lot of them now. They're very, very quiet. Although I have seen some, and I'm gonna try to find the whatchamacallit, what they said exactly. But I'm seeing some who are saying, well, Tank Davis was at his worst and he still couldn't lose. I'm thinking, well, you compare and contrast this performance to other performances. How exactly did he look any worse? The only thing worse was that he didn't get the knockout. But other than that, his punch output was the same. His inability to press the pace was the same. I mean, I don't understand what people are talking about. So hopefully we can get some of that clarified later on. So we got Bucho and Gonzalo jumping in. Fellas, curious to hear your thoughts on what transpired last night where Tank Davis seemed to squeak away with a draw.
Gonzalo, you there? All right, I'll go first.
Yeah, give me a minute. Minute. Go ahead.
Well, it was a robbery, I think. Roach won. And this fight just proved that Tank Davis is overrated. He's completely overrated. This reminded me of the Isaac Cruz fight. There were moments in the fight. By the way, let's just remember that yesterday during the pay-per-view, at the beginning of the pay-per-view, somewhere along that time, the commentators were saying they were talking about Tank Davis's IQ, high IQ. Everybody talks about the strength, about the power, but nobody really talks about his IQ. Oh yeah, he has ring IQ. That's very bullshit. He didn't even show it yesterday. Where was that fucking IQ? Roach wasn't doing shit in many parts of the fight. He was just standing there with a high guard, and Tank Davis didn't know what to do. And by the way, that referee needs to. He needs to step away, man. Something has to happen. There needs to be an investigation. Tank Davis could have easily been disqualified when his corner jumped in the ring there, started wiping his face off. And the referee's just like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? It's like, that's a disqualification. And everybody loves this referee because he makes all these fucking faces. But is he actually a good referee?
Good question. It's a salient question. Yeah, everyone's all entertained. Everyone's entertained by his faces and the grimaces that he makes, those inhuman grimaces that I think I've only seen in nightmares. But everyone's having a good laugh over it, but he dropped the ball big time. And you know what? Anybody can say, well, it's not easy to be a referee, blah, blah, blah. Listen, it was a bunch of egregious mistakes, apparent mistakes that anybody, even a bunch of newbies, are calling him out. So if those type of people can do it, are you going to tell me as a referee you wouldn't have been able to do any better? Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Mr. Abucho.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking, in one of those, just for the sake of giving him the benefit of the doubt, in one of those type of situations, like he said, he got some grease in his eye. How is the proper way to handle it? If you're going to call a timeout or instead of taking the knee, what should he have done before the referee stepped in?
Okay, what do you mean?
Okay, so let's say I got something in my eye, and if I take a knee, I know it's going to be counted as a knockdown. How do I signal to the referee that I have something legitimate that I need to call a timeout?
Well, you're not supposed to.
But you can't call a timeout. There's no timeouts in boxing.
Yeah, you got something in your eye, tough luck. Unless it's something apparent, the referee, you can't stop and ask the referee, hey, I need a timeout to check my eye. You got to keep going.
I mean, if you twist your ankle or whatever, you lose the fight. This isn't like soccer where like, okay, we'll just, replace you with somebody else. I mean, if you can't continue boxing, you lose the fight. So if he has something in his eyes or whatever, that's his fucking fault. If he takes a knee, it's an immediate knockdown.
I want to go back to this whole thing of Tank Davis. He was a worse version of Tank Davis. There was something wrong with him. What was wrong with him? Why wasn't he letting his hands go? Well, where's the... okay, here's what we get. This is from when he fought Barrios, and it went to the 11th round. I posted this one yesterday during the call-in show. It went to the 11th round. Davis only threw 296 shots, okay? When he fought Gamboa, which got all the way to the 12th round, Davis threw 321 punches, slightly better. And when he went the full distance against Isaac Cruz, he threw 462. That's the highest output I've ever seen from him. And that supposedly that's the fight where he hurt his hand. That's what his fans always said. Oh, he beat Isaac Cruz one-handed. Well, he threw more punches than he did last night. Last night he threw 279 big punches. So they're about the same, give or take 100 or so punches. That's it. This is, like I said about Shakur Stevenson a couple of weeks ago, people need to stop getting into their heads that Shakur Stevenson one day is going to turn into a big power puncher. He's going to dazzle and razzle the crowd. He's going to turn into Roy Jones. That's the best we're going to get is what we saw last Saturday from Shakur Stevenson, where he wears a guy down who's coming in late notice. Same thing with Tank Davis. If he can't get you out with one shot, it's going to be a very competitive fight because he is not an active guy. And he doesn't know how to go out there and get the fight himself. He did it against Frank Martin, but that was a Frank Martin who was very inexperienced on top of that. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Prince Nassim Hamed. Remember how Hamed was looking invincible at one point? Then he took on Cesar Soto. He took on Augie Sanchez. And all of a sudden you start realizing, hey, if you don't jump on him, he can't catch you. And again, I'm not saying it's easy to beat Tank Davis because he does have very good defense, but that part of the blueprint is out there. He will not come get you. He throws around 300 shots per fight, and that's just not enough against the elite. What do you think about that, guys?
Yeah, and you know what makes no sense, PDA? Because every time I see a Tank Davis boxing clip, when his trainer, which is usually like a fat guy holding the mitts, he's throwing like 1,000 punches and looking flashy, pop, 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 hitting the mitts. But when it comes to him inside the ring, he doesn't throw nearly, it's like no comparison night and day. He doesn't box like he trains. So I wonder why, obviously he can let his hands go on the mitts, but then when you got a live opponent in there, he doesn't let his hands go. That's just weird to me.
Yeah, no, but you know, here's the other thing I mentioned yesterday in passing. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. He spent way too much time fighting some pro opposition and only fighting once per year. Did all of that also catch up with him in a negative fashion?
Yeah, of course. I'm just thinking some of what he does, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, when you got somebody punching back, you want to pick your spots, right? And you don't always want to open up, I guess. Sometimes not letting your hands go can be a good thing because you're giving your opponent less of an opportunity to catch you. But then you want to catch him when he makes mistakes. But obviously, you got to do more than that. Like you said, his punch output is way less because he's been fighting guys that catch weights and that are coming up in weight. So when he faces a guy, I know this guy was coming up too, but he looks like he filled out his frame and he was prepared. Like this might have been Roach's best performance against a guy having probably his worst, because you can see it in his attitude that he doesn't care, he's lazy, and it's just there for a payday. That has a lot to do with it too.
But see, that's the thing though, Gonzalo. Oh well, you know, there was something wrong with Tank Davis. I mean, I saw the same type of constant complaining to the referee, looking at the crowd. I saw that in the Isaac Cruz fight. I saw that in the Ryan Garcia fight for as long as that one went. I mean, it's not a lot of what we saw yesterday, it wasn't the first time we've seen it. So if it would have been the first time, I would agree, okay, there was something wrong with Tank Davis. I didn't see anything wrong with Tank Davis. I saw him fighting a guy who wasn't giving him openings, and he looked like he did in the Isaac Cruz fight and for long stretches of the Barrios fight. Butcher, what do you think about that?
Inactivity, played a factor. But we've been talking about Tank Davis's skill level for a while now. He's been struggling with some fighters. Sure, we focus on the knockout, how he wins, a lot of times by stoppage, but we forget what was happening before that stoppage. He struggles with a lot of these boxers. He was struggling against Rolly Romero. He obviously struggled against Isaac Cruz. He didn't stop him. Even against Frank Martin, he wasn't looking that great. So, you know, this guy is not as good as people make him out to be. They focus on the stoppages. They focus on that Ryan Garcia win. Well, Ryan Garcia was dehydrated. That's a fact. There was a rehydration clause. And if you look at how Ryan Garcia looked in that fight physically and compare him to when he fought Devin Haney, it's a completely different fighter. By the way, we forget that but Lamont Roach was moving up in weight.
Mm-hmm.
Tank Davis couldn't knock out a 130-pounder. And this excuse that, the reason why Tank struggled with this guy is because they fought in the amateurs. I mean, so what? Now, Tank Davis is supposed to be a pound-for-pounder. Just, because he fought this guy in the amateurs, all of a sudden now he struggles with him and he can't beat him. It's unbelievable. These excuses are just, they're hilarious.
I mean,
Tank Davis is not a pound-for-pounder, by the way.
I remember when Lomachenko looked less than stellar against Jermaine Ortiz. But Lomachenko started gradually getting better throughout the fight, meaning he was the better guy because he could sustain his pace for longer, whereas, what's his name, Ortiz couldn't. I never saw that from Tank Davis, Bucho, which is what you're saying, which is, okay, he's this pound-for-pounder, he's the biggest puncher in boxing. You would expect him to make changes throughout the fight and as a more experienced guy and supposedly superior fighter, end the fight stronger. He didn't. In fact, I thought Lamont Roach ended the fight stronger. Tank Davis, by the way, Tank Davis after the fight said he thought he pulled it off because of the late rounds. I didn't see, he started off very slowly and he didn't end in particularly stellar fashion. So what's he talking? Yeah, like wouldn't you expect the more experienced guy to actually end the fight stronger?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of one of those type of performances, like, like for example, when you're looking at a fighter that's supposed to be like the number one or the top 5 in boxing, superstar too, that he's not starting off fast, and you could kind of say the fight is even, but then at some moment, he's supposed to pick it up. It reminds me of the performance that Canelo had against maybe Kovalev.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, man, at some point you're expecting that, okay, Canelo's going to come on strong and knock him out, and he did. Canelo versus Caleb Plant. He came on stronger. He pulled it out. He got it done. Tank's done that in the past. But this time, like you said, instead of pulling it out, he started going from...
Pulling what out?
He started. he didn't do good, and so it was one of those, like, if the Barkley was supposed to be like, he was becoming more popular, to become a breakthrough superstar, because he actually hasn't done that. But right now with this performance, it's like, man, he left it all on the table. He hasn't really crossed over.
Well, you bring up a good point about how what he was supposed to do and all that, because a lot was made about how he's the big star in boxing. By the way, interesting thing, during the telecast, and I'm going to play it later because I have the bookmark here. In the second round, Tank Davis is running around the ring as usual, and the commentator goes, "This is like a big suspenseful movie. Something's about to happen." And I'm thinking, there you go. They're admitting that nothing happens until he lands that one big shot. And like we were saying for decades now, well, not decades obviously, but what we were saying for a long time was, what happens if he doesn't land that punch? That's why we compare it to Deontay Wilder. Obviously, Tank Davis is more skilled than Wilder, got better technique, but the principle remains the same. He's running around waiting for that one shot, and when it doesn't come, what's plan B? So that's number one. Number two, I like Joe Goosen. I think he's one of the most overrated trainers. Well, boy, oh boy, when they're paying you, when the PBC is paying you that check, he will go all in. Check out what he had to say right before, as the telecast started. Okay.
To see him fight, and he takes on all the best opponents. He never dodges anybody. And if somebody challenges him, whether it's a contender or a champion or a former champion, he beats them all. And it's like, then you go, well, who can beat this guy? Sometimes you go out there just to see if anybody can be competitive or beat him. And nobody's come close. Nobody.
All right, so that's Exhibit A of people overrating. I mean, that's overrating a fighter, if there ever was such a thing as overrating. He's saying that Tank Davis doesn't dodge anybody, which is blatantly false. And then he says, well, people just want to watch to see if he can even get a competitive fight. All of his fights virtually have been competitive.
Is this guy joking? I mean, wow. I don't know what to say to that. Does he understand who's in that division? Who's at 140? This is hilarious. And the thing is, his fans believe all of this bullshit. They're listening to this broadcast and going like, oh, yeah, the ring IQ. Oh, yeah, he doesn't duck anybody. He fights everybody. He dug Lomachenko for I don't know how many fucking years, right? Now he says he's going to retire, right? This year is his last year, as if this guy accomplished anything.
It was very telling that when he did start going to the body, like around the 8th or 9th, that's when he took the knee. And when he was landing, maybe a shot or two here and there, Lamont Roach was actually getting his get back way clearer than Tank Davis. So yeah, okay, Tank landed, but Roach retaliated, and more clearly where the fans were like, "Oh, okay, props to Roach." And then he took the knee. And he lost maybe the 11th and 12th. I'm not sure about the 12th. And he started slow. So for me, clearly that was a loss.
And that's interesting though. Not much is being said, or not enough is being said about Lamont Roach's ability to take a shot and give it right back, refusing to let Tank Davis steal the play. That is something that I really admire in boxers. You know what? I didn't pick Lamont Roach, so you won't hear me saying I told you so, because I can't. However, one thing I did say was that I thought Tank Davis was was expected to knock out the smaller guy, but that he was going to struggle, like always, in the build-up to that knockout. So the only difference that happened here in this fight was that he never got the knockout. That was it. He still struggled. A lot of people feel he should have lost that fight. I got to rewatch it and score it round by round before I can give you a clear determination and demarcation of the facts. But like Bucho keeps saying, brought a guy up. Yeah, he's improved. Lamont Roach improved, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? He's still the smaller guy. He doesn't hit as hard as Tank Davis. He's not as fast as Tank Davis. Doesn't have as much experience as Tank Davis. And for all intents and purposes, he won that fight yesterday.
Yeah, he's not a terrible boxer either. But let's put things into perspective here. Tank Davis is supposed to be a pound-for-pounder, the face of boxing. Some people claim he is the face of boxing, right? And if he were to struggle with somebody, it should have been against Tank, maybe a Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez, a Shakur Stevenson. That could have been acceptable if he would have struggled against one. He struggled against a 130-pounder in Lamont Roach. That wasn't supposed to happen. The odds even showed you that wasn't supposed to happen.
That's right.
It should have been an easy fucking win. He lost the fight.
Mm-hmm. Tank Davis fans, by the way. Go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I often criticize the UK cards, but what I've seen lately, for example, the Barbosa fight, those guys were honest over there in the UK. And there's a fight or two that I can't quite recall, but there's a pattern now that over there in the UK they're being fair. And now when I see the Hassam Shiraz fight, because Bronco Adames and this one, like I mentioned yesterday, sometimes I think the scorecards, like who's observing the judges, because the judge, just like when you talk about like legal things around the world, that's the ultimate whatchamacallit, the one that calls the shots. Nobody's checking what they're doing, so maybe these guys are jotting on a scratch piece of paper, but then in the end they transfer it to like the real card, and in the end, do you have to turn your card in? Probably, but nobody's gonna check your pockets if you made notes or something. And there's a way, if they really want to cheat, just to have the guy that's favored to come out on top, they're doing it, because obviously something's not making sense when two judges have it 114.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, again, it's a little bit more difficult, I would assume, now with everyone's filming everything and all that. So it would be a little bit more difficult. But you never know, though. That's the thing. I don't have an eye on what's going on ringside, so you never know. By the way, guys, I want to get first of all, hit the like. It really helps us out, so make sure to do that. We're just recapping here what happened last night with the panelists. And speaking of panelists, let's hear from Jimmy. Yo,
what's going on, boys? What's going on?
From the Jimarino.
Yeah.
What's going on, Bucho? How you doing, my brother?
Pretty good. I hope you're doing
That's
great.
That's good, man.
You
came at the right moment, Jimmy.
Yeah. Right for boxing, take it in the ass again.
Yeah.
Everybody's laughing at the sport. All right. Fucking Steve Willis has fucking 22 years as a professional referee. 268 fights he's refereed. Okay. He actually says to him, "Hey, when you take a knee, you make me look like an asshole." That's what he said. You're gonna make me look like an asshole. So, dude, and then he taps his chest. Listen, that's corruption. When there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether he was paid or just he knew he could not let Tank lose. He knew he was losing that fight. All right. And let me just start off by this. The fucking instant idolization in the elevation of Lamont Roach to suddenly he's a boogeyman. All fucking Tank Davis's fucking opponents become boogeymen. Fucking Cruz, look how that's worked out. I mean, he's lost, 2 of his last 3 fights? Listen, he's basic. He had a good fucking game plan. He kept his fucking mitts up high, but doesn't have power, okay? And he's on the slow side for a 130-pound fighter, okay? Here's the thing. Tank Davis threw 258 punches in the total fight, right? Okay, the average 135-pound champion in a 12-round thing, right? What's considered a low output is 40 punches per round, which is 480 punches. That's considered low on the low end. The average is between that. The high output is 60, per round, like 720, where Lomachenko lives. When he was at 130, he was throwing on average around 700 punches fucking over a fight, 60 a round. So that means that knucklehead was in historically low punches, okay? And you know what that is? And then you watch his fucking press conference, and he said something. He kind of let something slip. He's like, yeah, I gotta, if you can just keep up with his fucking 4th grade English. And he says, it's fucking disgusting, dude. He's an asshole, the way he answered shit. Do you feel like, are you surprised that he took your power? Yeah, that's cool. Like, that's an answer? Like, dude, just shut the fuck up. And then they go through, by the way, too, the reason why they picked the guys beforehand who they'll hand the mic to ask questions. Like, you think if Steve Kim was there, they would hand him the mic? Nope. It was all the people. One girl, what about the one girl? I don't have a question. I just wanted to tell you how awesome you are. And they people preferencing the fucking questions with, you were throwing bombs, champ. Like, the sport has become like, it's such a fucking clown show. And he said, yeah, I got to stop, doing things. You know what that means? That means
Jimmy,
drinking and drugging and partying.
But wait a minute,
dude has
Jimmy.
been wheelchaired out of the fucking, he got so hammered at the Super Bowl, so fucking wasted, stumbling drunk, they had to wheelchair him out. And they had like 7 security guards making sure nobody got close to talk to him because they was going.
But Jimmy, are these excuses? Some people are saying that he didn't take this fight seriously. But skill-wise, we've been talking about how he's not as good as some people make him out to be. So what is?
What fight has he taken serious, Bucho? He was losing. Shut up! He was losing the fucking rounds to Romero. The short ass dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was losing rounds then before he fucking literally walked into a fucking uppercut. Shut up! Sorry about that. And dude, listen. He is who he is. The reason why he wants to retire at 30 years old, because he's never done shit. His resume's a joke. The fact that the guy was a 16-1. I'll repeat it again. 16-1 underdog. That is a cherry pick. That is a Vegas odds no-hoper. Okay? There's at least 7 or 8 guys at 135 who would fucking spark Lamont Roach. And what does Davis do? He goes outside the division to pull up a kid from 130 who doesn't have any power, does nothing spectacular. He didn't do anything spectacular last night. In fact, most of that fight was boring as fuck. Okay, but for them to fuck him like that, to take a knee, I'll let you take a knee. I don't give a fuck if somebody's in the fucking audience with a slingshot and fucking pellets hitting you off the fucking head, right? Dude, you take a knee, it's a standing A count. Oh, I had to go wipe some shit out of my eye. Oh, okay, sorry, champ. You need a massage? Like, it was a fucking joke. It was a joke because Steve Willis knew the fight was so close. It was the 9th round. If I give him a standing 8 count, this becomes a 10-8 round and almost guaranteed. And it would have guaranteed Roach a fucking win because two judges had it 114-114. So that instantly would have made Roach the winner. So
Jimmy,
there's a reason why like Dana White and everybody's laughing at boxing today, and it's Davis. My thing is this: retire, please retire. You're an embarrassment. You're the face of boxing, dude, and your resume is a joke, and your fans are on Twitter right now elevating Lamont Roach.
Jimmy, you want Tank to retire, but he sold out apparently the arena, 19,000 plus. They keep talking about it. He sold out almost.
Yep, sold out, and they lie about his pay-per-view numbers because I'll guarantee you that fucking thing didn't. Well, put it this way: we don't backdoor money. Whatever he got, $2 million. That's all he's going to get. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to get any back end money because that thing did. He's got to sell $500,000 before you start seeing fucking backdoor money. He said that the person he was going to fight was in his locker room. The next fight, there's a chance. There might be literally a chance that this jackass fights fucking Paul.
Yeah,
because he was in his. Why not? That would be a fucking clown show. It would be one of those circus fights. It would draw. It would make him so much money. Like it would do the same thing like what Garcia did for him. Because if you look at his pay-per-views, listen. And again, I got to reiterate it because no matter how many times you say it, people are like, oh, no. Steven Espinoza fucked up on a podcast and said, well, this is when he fought Rolly Romero. He's like, well, this is when he was fighting. They were talking about the fucking numbers. I think it was Hector Cruz. Hector Garcia. And he goes, well, it's not a 200,000. And he said which is the highest, which was be Rolly. It did over 2, which basically he straight up said no fucking fight other than put again Garcia, the fucking psycho aside. All his fights other than against Rolly all did under 200,000 pay-per-views. And what's his name? Whether you like him or not, he's been right numerous times. Rick Lasia. And he said the first one, which makes sense, against Pitbull Cruz, who nobody heard of. It was on a Sunday night, okay? He straight up said the next day he's got a Los Angeles lawyer who works in the entertainment industry. And remember, they see it because they know what they pay tax on. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a tax lawyer, supposedly, and he's got people in the end, and he knows what they paid the tax on the pay-per-views. And he said the thing did 62,000 pay-per-views against Cruz. My point being, there's a fucking all kinds of people at 135, right? And he goes outside the division again and got a fucking, I don't want, callers and call and say whatever the fuck they want. 16-1. That means you had to bet $1,600 to make 100. That's how much of a fucking Vegas odds no hoper. This kid was picked to get knocked out, right? And 257 punches thrown, or 58, is half. I mean, more than half less than average a champion does at 135. So it's never taken any. Why would he have to take these guys serious? That's the thing, right? When you cherry pick all your opponents and you weight train Garcia, and I know people, bullshit. I mean, there's a reason. I think that kid's going to come back at like 154, they're saying. Definitely 147, probably. I mean, he's a big dude. And they fucking, put it at, what was it, 146, and then, they put a stipulation on him. Come on. They knew exactly what they were doing, and Garcia's people told him, don't do it, don't take this fight, you're going to get fucked. And nope, I'm going to take it, so that's on him. But regardless, outside of a weight-drained fucking Pedraza 10 years ago, almost, or it's 9, this kid has nobody on his resume. And I love people who call up and say, well, he became a champion. Like that means something in today's boxing when it's fucking 40 belts. right? Who gives a shit? It's what the guy does. It's who he is. Is he a good champion? Is he a champion that actually lasts? How long was Pitbull Cruz a champion for? One fight, and then he lost?
Well, not even, yeah. And that's the other thing, Jimmy. It's the other thing about Tank Davis was right after the fight in the post-fight interview, he started saying that he got his braids done and that I'm paraphrasing here, but that the bitch put some grease in his shit. So he's saying that there was some sort of grease on his braids and they got in his eyes, and that's why he couldn't see, and that's why he took a knee. Do you buy that?
He says, well, I put water on it that day, but I guess it wasn't enough. No, I believe that there was some, I'm not familiar. I don't have fucking cornrows, but I guess there's something. I didn't look it up. I should have looked it up to see what they actually put in it to make that, and I don't know if it's a straightener. You know what I mean? I know like that burns. The straightener actually, like I don't know if you ever saw the old,
talk about the conch?
That movie with, Denzel Washington, remember they put that straightener and he starts screaming, fuck, it's like lie and shit. So I don't know if it's what's going on, if it's something to do with that. Again, I'm not familiar with that. So I do believe he could get some stuff in his eyes, but who cares? What about when fucking Tim Zoo's fucking forehead was gashed open and the blood was going into his eyes? Did he get to take a knee? Hey, Kelly, give me a towel. Wipe this blood out of my eyes. I mean, that was criminal. Steve Willis should have, if that fucking sport had any integrity, the commissioner should have had him arrested after the fucking fight. Why not?
No, but he was a disqualification, right, Jimmy? When Tank Davis went to his corner.
No, 100%. And his corner come up on the apron in the middle of the round.
Yeah,
that's
a disqualification.
That's just disqualification. He should have lost the fight right there. He should have got either a standing 8 count or a disqualification. Instead, he got a tap on the chest. Hey, you're going to make me look like an asshole.
You know what makes this all the more ironic about that is that Tank Davis, not that long ago, was besmirching Al Sheikh and the whole Riyadh season card, saying, all of that looks satanic. And the fact that the Sheikh told Shiraz last week, hey, you gotta win. You're behind the scorecards. And then this happens with Tank Davis. Protection plan. Isn't that a little bit ironic there, Jimmy? What do you think about that?
Exactly. Well, he's got to say something because he knows this. He knows the fucking Sheikh will throw all kinds of money. There's no excuses there. Obviously, look at what this guy's done. I mean, it is what it is, but he makes the fights, right? Everybody wanted Bivol and, fucking the other dude for so long. He made it happen. The fucking rematch. I mean, and then another thing. Will the rematch happen? Well, not this year. I mean, oh God, you couldn't expect to fight again this year. I mean, it's February. Christ only gives you 10 months. It's just a fucking joke, dude.
Well, let's talk about that. There's a lot to talk about, and I still want to talk about the actual fight, the Tank Davis Roach fight and all that. But real quick, Espinoza, much was made earlier this week, Jimmy, that Steven Espinoza, there was a video circulating where he admits that they never sent Shakur Stevenson a contract. Subsequently, the video started getting taken down from Twitter due to copyright issues. Did you hear anything about that? And,
I heard it. Oh, yeah, everybody was talking about it. They never sent them a contract. Of course they didn't. They lied, dude. Listen, Al Hammond came over to there. Showtime, like HBO, within days would say this is the amount of pay-per-views we sold, right? They couldn't stop talking about how many fucking Floyd Mayweather sold against Manny Pacquiao. Showtime couldn't stop talking about how many fucking Floyd Mayweather did it with Conor McGregor. But when it's Al Hammond, silence. They leak it through fucking, again, because it's, look at, if you're a corporation, you're a publicly traded corporation, you cannot lie about fucking income. You can't lie about what you have taken in money-wise, right? Because that's, to stockholders, that's just a lie. You can't do it. Because, when you go to the FCC, you can see, they just, any kind of lie. If you're a person of, importance, and Steven Espinoza was. So he knew he could never say anything about the pay-per-view numbers. He personally himself couldn't lie about them. So instead, if they leak it through a journalist Well, I don't know what the fuck you hold that. So you heard it from Dan Raphael. Look at that fucking dude. He's a fucking walking diabetes commercial.
Ah, come on.
You know what I mean? Well, he can be such an asshole, but he was supposedly going to fucking talk to this, the state athletic commission. But I mean, it's criminal, dude. Just taking that knee and then walking over and having your fucking guy run up and wipe your face, dude. I'm like watching them, like, my God, this is like a cartoon. This is like a fucking cartoon.
You brought up the fact that Tank Davis said he was, the rematch won't happen this year. I usually don't put too much stock on what fighters say. I wait until I see an actual official announcement from the network say, hey, this is what's going to happen. And even then, I don't fully buy it until they're in the ring. However, it does make sense, Jimmy, that you're skeptical about it because Tank Davis, the last time he fought prior to this fight had been June 2024, over 6 months. The trend with Tank Davis usually is one fight per year. Amazon, I mean, they're paying out of pocket now, the PBC is, for these events. Do they have the infrastructure to put on another event within the next 3 months for Tank Davis?
Well, the thing is, right, again, the reason that they're all pay-per-views, all his fights are pay-per-views, because they're paying him I think it was $2 million he got for last night's fight. I have to see again. But the PBC's broke. Al Heyman isn't a promoter. Like when Bob Allen puts on something, when his fighters get paid, when they receive their check after the fight, that comes right from the top-ranked checking account. The checks say top rank right on them. Mm-hmm. There's no Al Heyman PBC checks. Because the PBC depended on Showtime's $50 million a year annual sports budget. Mm-hmm. To help finance that shit. Before that, it was the fucking, the money that he's still on the hook for, which they're never going to get back. I mean, he was sued, and the judge in Kansas City awarded Waddell Reed, and, fucking Heyman's on the hook for $750 million.
Oh.
Because they said it was bad faith, how he did it. There was no paper trail. They couldn't fucking... where did the money go? How did you have only $82 million in working capital 2.5 years after you started this with $750 million? Look at the PBC. Go back and look at the fights they put on. Okay, you paid $500,000 for the PBC music, which they used once. The big PBC stage, which I don't know if he sold it off to some UFC, to some literally. I think that's what I was told, that he sold it to an MMA guy. Now they used it for some MMA or BIM knuckle boxing or something. Uh-huh. But there was supposed to be hats, belts, coats. That was all a part of the thing. He, with the guy from NBC, told Waddell Reed to get that fucking hedge fund money. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take over. We're going to be on. We're just going to absolutely every network, ABC, CBS, NBC. We're going to put them on there. We're going to pay for the fucking time. We don't have to worry about the commercials. And we're going to put on a product so good at the end, they will pay us. And on top of that, we'll have our own belts because he thought he was going to crush. Canelo was the thing that really fucked him. If Canelo would have signed with him right off the rip when he stole all those Golden Boy guys, it would have been over. Like, who could have competed with him at the time? Seriously. But that was the plan. But the hats, like if you know, because I remember going to their website back in 2015, man, the PBC hats, the jackets, all this fucking shit. And you go there now and it's gone. Nothing. So it was a scam. And they told in court that they had $82 million in working capital 2.5 years after receiving $750 million.
Damn, that's insane, man. So again, don't expect to see Tank Davis in the ring anytime soon. The other thing is, these Tank Davis fans really are the definition of casuals. One of the big things, some of them are still trying to defend Tank Davis's performance. One of them said, let's not forget, Roach took a knee too. Shut the fuck up. That's what he's saying. And I'm thinking, do they not see the difference between Davis getting hit and taking a knee versus Davis leaning on top of Roach and making him take a knee? Did they not see the difference? And then there's this girl, because in that same thread, people were going at it, and then there's this woman, not a girl, a woman. She goes, somebody says, if I'm not mistaken, Tank pushed him down. He didn't actually take a knee. And then she goes, If he didn't actually take a knee, why he breathing hard? Has hard on that motherfucker. Why did he need time to get up? And then a guy replied, because they're in a boxing match. You fat hoe. You put your weight on top of somebody while they're tired. What do you think happens? Stop talking about the sport. You sound dumb. Yeah, so the Tank Davis fans, and then another couple of comments I read about 2 or 3 saying, Roach fought well, but he didn't do enough to take it away from the champ. What official rule is that in the rule book where it says that you actually have to do more to take it away from the champ? Is that an official rule that these people keep repeating?
No. There's no official rule. That's just one of those stupid things they say. Okay, but what about the knee? How do they excuse away the knee or the fucking disqualification? You like say you fall out of the ring. Mm-hmm. Right? Boom, you go out of the ring. You're like right there, right at the feet of your fucking trainer. If he so much as reaches down and touches your shoulder, boom, fight over. You lose. You got 20. What do they give you? I think they give you 20 seconds to get back in the ring. But you have to do it under your own power. If anybody in your team so much as lays a hand on you, it's a disqualification. It's the same thing in amateur, but like you cannot touch, you can't wipe your fucking Tim Zoo, fucking Badu Jack with a big gash on his head. Think about how many fighters over the years have had huge gashes with blood streaming in their eyes. Oh, I'm gonna take a knee. Hold on. Come on, guys, give me a wipe. Pooh. Sorry, ref, man. I couldn't see and I didn't want to get knocked out because the shit was really getting in my eye. Think about the insanity. And then think about how much of a fucking fanboy asshole you have to be to try to justify that, to try to come to fucking terms with that. You know what I mean? You know who's doing that? The people who say, oh, fucking, he represents the culture. Okay? Oh. So that's where this is going. That's you'll find the people defending that shit are the same people who'll say that. Coach called in last night. He gave an excellent fucking, breakdown of the fight. And he is a Tank fan, but like he gave like he lost, yeah, and he called it that taking a knee was taking a knee. You cannot take a fucking knee. It's a standing 8 count. Under no sir. I mean, and you're talking about a guy again, 268 fucking professional fights, 22 years as a referee. That's reflexes. Like you don't even think about it. You see your knee, boom, 1, 2. You start counting. You turn. You look at the timekeeper because there's 2 people doing it, not just the rep. The guy who hits the bell, bing. He starts counting. The minute he took the knee, you should have seen hands at the timekeeper table. 1, 2.
Exactly.
Giving him a standing 8 count. And he just waves. He waved it off. Nah, you know what? I'm not going to do it this time. But don't do it again, man, because you're making me look like an asshole.
Yeah, didn't he start counting though? Which is kind of
yes,
worse.
he did. Yes, he did. It was Tank said, I don't know. He started counting. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? I'm wiping my eye, guy.
Hey, by the way,
it's a fucking clown show.
This is what I was talking about too, about how. Even the commentators, by the way, the commentators, they recalibrated their expectations of Tank Davis. They stopped calling him the face of boxing. Now he's the face of American boxing. They said that about 4 or 5 times throughout the show.
I heard that.
And they're also admitting that Tank Davis doesn't do much during the fights. Listen to what he had to say during the fight.
He's building the tension. And we've said it many times. You watch a Tank Davis fight, it's like sitting on the edge of your seat during a blockbuster thriller. You know that a twist is coming, but the suspense is half the fun.
So they're admitting nothing happens. And nothing happened yesterday. There was no knockout blow. So where was the drama? Why couldn't he pull it off? Why couldn't he step it up and outwork and outbox Lamont Roach?
In his prime, Lomachenko threw 500 more punches than Tank Davis did at that weight class. 500 more.
Think about
that's
that.
What I was telling BDA and Bucho, Jimmy. Because like when you see him on the pads, he's throwing like these fucking 1,000 punch flurries. But in the ring, he's not even throwing like 20%. Like he appears because he knows how to let his hands go. Yeah, I get it. Pick your spots and stuff. But yeah, man, I thought he clearly lost the fight. And, I've seen fighters like recently, the better BFA versus Bivol. Close fight, you run it back. I don't think this one was close. Canelo, Golovkin, freaking Mayweather, against Castillo and Chino Maidana. When this guy just doesn't have the energy to say, oh, okay, well, I want the rematch, but maybe not in first. And if anything, it won't be this year until next. Then he doesn't even show up for the press conference. It just kind of makes you wonder, how are you supposed to keep your fan base and the people
That's a
interested?
good question. No, that's a good question.
Listen, I'm sorry. Go, BDA.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to say, I love him. Mickey, Irish, right? Never met a Budweiser he didn't like. You know what I mean? But that motherfucker kept it real. He didn't drink. Like, he would drink on, like, Christmas, like, one time a year, because he knew, like, as a professional boxer, you cannot drink. You just can't. It's the worst. Listen, heroin, coming off heroin, you think you'll die. But you won't. You'll feel like you're going to die, but you won't. 2 drugs can kill you if you quit cold turkey because it's so toxic to the human body. Benzodiazepines, Valium, fucking Xanny bars, all that shit, and alcohol. Those are the 2 things. If you go to any detox center, they get the code red pump. There's some asshole drunk is on the floor kibiing because it's so toxic to the human body. What it does to the liver, it just shuts everything down. Ask Errol Spence what partying does. That, you know, the videos of him, like Billy Talk, he's standing up, fucking at that nightclub. You know, I don't know if you guys ever saw a video. It's crazy, you know, but he admitted it. You know, but that's the reason why he was so chinny. And it affects your balance terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why he was wobbled by Lamont Roach, who I think it doesn't even have 50% knockout ratio. I mean, if that, somewhere around that. He's not a hard puncher, and he's not a fast puncher either for a guy coming up, which is going to make him even slower. So there's no excuse other than the partying outside the ring, and he knows it. And he didn't want to get caught.
I'm starting to think it was a whole bunch of things too. Inactivity, fighting nondescript opposition for so long, it made him dull. And like you said, the outside the ring antics. Jimmy, I love Joe Goosen, man. I think he's an underrated guy. But I guess when they pay him a salary, he has to toe the company line. This is what he had to say about Tank Davis yesterday when the telecast started. Just you know, when people say who's been overhyping Tank Davis, well, I guess Exhibit A here.
To see him fight, and he takes on all the best opponents. He never dodges anybody. And if somebody challenges him, whether it's a contender or a champion or a former champion, he beats them all. And it's like, you know, then you go, well, who can beat this guy? Sometimes you go out there just to see if anybody can be competitive or beat him. And nobody's come close. Nobody. So
he never ducks anybody, Jimmy, and no one's ever come close at beating him.
So you know what that tells you? Joe Goosen, who I respect, I've respected his career. I respected him, and his brother died. You know what they brought to boxing. But you know what it tells me? Your credibility is for sale.
Oh.
It's for sale, dude. You have no fucking credibility. You have it, but you can buy it.
Wow.
You can't claim you can't claim that he's ignorant about.
Of course not. He knows exactly who he's fought.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, listen to Paulie Malignaggi. He's like, he went on a rant. Like, this kid's a fucking manufactured champion. This kid's never fought anybody. And he's like this sick, and he named all these guys at 135. He could fight. You know, fight. You think he's going to fight fucking Davis? The other kid, fucking Keyshawn Davis? Keyshawn Davis beats the shit out of him. Beats him like, he beats on him like a stolen car.
He's kind of one of those guys that Tank Davis, that if you say something about him, like they'll replay whatever that person said, and he'll say like, next time you cannot be part of my fight. Kind of like Deontay Wilder did it when somebody made a negative comment about him. You know, they would say, okay, Joe Goosen can't come back again and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of sensitive. It just kind of makes me wonder too, like how this will affect his ego now that the fight passed, to where he doesn't have his confidence, and a lot of people are going to criticize him on the YouTube if he's going to act out like the Charlos, you know, because Tank Davis has got charges in the past in between fights.
That's
so
right.
After this performance, if he gets heavily criticized, is he going to go do something stupid too, that he's going to get arrested again and shit like that? I'm not a fortune teller, but I can already see that coming.
I mean, he's been arrested for all kinds of shit, like fucking punching the fucking parking lot attendant in the chest. Not even the same kid went to get his punched the wrong kid in New York. I mean, listen, generational, raised with no father. His father figure was the trainer. How good of a trainer was him when he said, "Oh, I lost count of the rounds. I didn't know what round we were in." Dude, what the fuck are you talking about, you jackass? You mean to tell me your corner wasn't saying, like, listen, oh my God. The first thing a trainer does to you, like, you listen to Bomac, he gets it around. Okay, dude, this is the 8th. Right before he goes out, this is the 8th, this is the 9th. You tell your fighter, oh, you're in the 12th. How do you lose fucking, I lost track of the rounds. I thought we were in the 6th. You know what I mean? It's such a fucking joke. And I guess he wanted some lights. They needed somebody to put like neon, like this is the 12th round. We need one of those things.
Well, not only that, Jimmy, like he's also like when he's in the corner, he wants to be in control. He's yelling at his corner, "Hey, you guys listen to me." Tank Davis, I don't know if he's doing it for the cameras, but he's bullying his trainers.
It's feminine energy. It's exactly what it is. He's got feminine energy. All right? That's what you get when you had no men in your life growing up. Raised by loud, aggressive women, you become a loud, aggressive man. You can be tough as fucking the $2 steak, but you can still have feminine energy. Like the dudes will call and they scream and they talk over you. They don't let you get a fucking word in edgewise, and they're probably slapping their hand to every word. That's the feminine energy.
But you know what? Somebody called in yesterday, and they said that perhaps the problem is also on top of that is that Davis fundamentally doesn't respect his trainers, and maybe that's what it is, because he's had it so easy fighting nondescript opposition that finally he had to fight somebody where he needed his corner to tell him how to make adjustments. Well, actually, it wasn't the first time. The second and third time, Isa Cruz and Barrios. I want to talk about this too, and then I want to talk about what comes next for Tank Davis. But the other thing Davis was doing throughout the fight was, on top of arguing with not only the referee but his corner, he also kept looking up at the crowd, almost like he was stalling for times. What is that about, guys? Some people say that psychologically it's him trying to get out of the difficult situation. What do you guys make of that? Him continuously looking away, arguing with the referee, arguing with his corner.
I just contribute it right again to feminine energy, like a bitch. He's a bitch. He acts like a fucking woman. He's got. Do you see him glare at the dude? If you watch the fucking Fight Hub, right, or Fight Hype, asked him after they called a draw, you were angry. You punched I believe you punched your gloves off the fucking canvas, and he looked at him and he sneered at him.
Really?
I didn't. Oh, dude, it's unbelievable. Glared at him like fucking dude. If you were next to me right now, you'd have no fronts. Like I ever punched you in the face. He was so angry at him for saying she glared at him. I didn't punch the thing. I mean, he was happy with the draw. They had the fix was in. Steve Willis had to call the fucking. Had to blow off the 8 count, standing 8 count for the knee. And can I just say seriously, just as a side note, anybody who's saying, well, Lamont took a knee when fucking Davis, pushed him down, you're just an asshole. You're just an asshole. Shut up. Don't call the fucking show. You're a moron. Nobody needs to hear from you. But anyways, yeah, dude, this fucking kid has just, we've been saying it all. Listen, there's a reason why when he became a champion in 2016 or 2017 through 2021, right? This motherfucker, I think seriously, he wouldn't even say words that begin with the letter L in case somebody thought it sounded like Lomachenko.
Oh.
You know what I mean? He ducked him like child support payments. He fucking, and then remember when that dude asked him, man, come on, man, you must have asked him, you must have stormed in there, I want to fight this, give me this guy. No, I've never done that. And again, the guy's just kind of, wow, okay. Yeah, dude, because he knows back in the day when Lomachenko wasn't fucking on the ugly side of 35, he would have fucking had him swinging at ghosts, hitting him with angles. You know what fucking Roach did? Finally, somebody did it to him. Somebody like him who doesn't throw a lot of punches, he's worried about his energy and shit. You fucking hit him with the fucking he was doing a lot of fucking fading and a lot of fucking deacon and My God, I'm having a brain fart on what it is, but when you just throw your head like you're gonna throw a punch, but you don't.
Oh, you're fainting.
Fainting. He was fainting him big time. And what happened when you get a guy who's jumpy, you see what he's gonna do, right? You learn. Okay, so when he fainted, he would see him twist his hip to the left, so you knew he was planning on throwing a left hand at you, right? And you start learning that. And listen, Roach fought a great fight. Kid come up, all the credit to him. I don't want to take any credit away from him. But I'm not going to elevate this kid to something he's not, because I'll tell you right now, there's 7 guys at 135 who beat the daylights out of that fucking dude at 135.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
That's a great. Go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. No, I'm just thinking that when people hype you up and you already believe that you're like the top guy, obviously he isn't the top guy in his division, but they say, okay, well, he's a number one superstar in America. That you kind of reach that point where like your boxing that you've been like doing and performing inside of the ring is always going to bail you out, and that's enough. Like you lose the hunger. And when one guy, like his opponent, did show up, like Jimmy's saying, and he had a good performance, well, not only are you not hungry, but you're not seeking to improve like your own boxing ability to take it to that new level, because you already thought you made it to the top, that you're already there.
Especially, Gonzalo, with everyone, probably a whole bunch of people around him, his entourage, telling him the same thing, whispering in his ear sweet nothings. Oh, yeah, you're the best, Tank. You're the best. Or actually, I bet you they say we the best. Like they include themselves in the conversation. Oh, yeah, we that's how we do. That's how we do. It's like, who's we?
The fucking media, dude. Think about it. What's that fucking dude whose father owns BoxRec? I mean, not BoxRec, but what's that?
Canobio.
Yeah, fucking donkey. I got a new friend today. He tweeted out a picture of him in fucking Tank. You clown.
Well,
but then when you get fucking guys calling him, dude, you were throwing bombs, champ. Like, really? Was he throwing bombs? Because he looked slow. He looked lethargic. He looked confused. He was biting at feints like an amateur. It was insane. You go back and you look at this Tank Davis who fought at 135, how twitchy he was, the combinations he would throw, the angles he would back when he was fucking still hungry and poor.
Mm-hmm. You know what, man? It's again, it's not a. You're right though. You watch him. Well, I mean, also it's the quality of the opposition. When he was on the come up, it was different. It's easier. But the thing is, though, it's again, none of people, for anybody, again, we got to reiterate, for anybody that wants to say, oh, there was something wrong with Tank Davis yesterday. I mean, compare and contrast his performances against Ryan Garcia, against Barrios, against Hector Luis Garcia, against Santa Cruz, against Rolly Romero. The only difference in a lot of those fights is he did end up getting that bomb in. And when he got it in against Barrios and Garcia, it was against guys who were physically compromised. So you didn't see anything new yesterday from Tank Davis. This is the same guy. He doesn't have a jab. He's not active. He's quite inactive in the ring in terms of volume. His defense ain't the greatest. Everything we've been saying for years now appeared. And again, we're giving you proof or evidence to highlight that. We're not just saying, oh, he sucks. No, we're telling you what's missing in his game. And we've been telling you that. We told you that about Wilder. We told you that about Andrade. When everyone was trying to make it out as if Andrade was this 160-pound version of Pernell Whitaker. We told you that about Wilder, Errol Spence. And we said it about Tank Davis. But people needed to see it until, sometimes people need to see it 4 or 5 times until it finally gets inside their head. The other thing I want to ask then, okay, so what happens next? Let's say they throw him in there and they cash him out against Shakur Stevenson. How would you guys see that fight?
Shakur Stevenson would pick him apart. That fight's not going to happen. Not a snowball chance in hell he's fighting Shakur Stevenson. Listen, when you get counted hard and wobbled by a fucking dude, a cherry pick, a 16-1 Vegas no-hoper, just think about how fucking bad Lomachenko would have hit him 4 or 5 fucking times. He would have threw one of those fucking sweeping fucking right hands, would have missed by about fucking 3 feet, and Lomachenko would have fucking hit him with about 5 fucking punches. Like he would have stopped him. He would have made him quit. He would absolutely would have made him quit. That's the reason why he never wanted nothing to do with them. There's levels to this shit, right? You can't fucking feed guys cherry pick after cherry pick and pay him a lot of money and $2 million. He wasn't getting any back end because these fights weren't selling. Good gates, right? But you know what I mean? I don't know what his contract is even getting gates because I heard that Al Heyman was the gate man. I heard he doesn't pay his fighters off the gate.
Well, you know what? You just brought up something else too that you missed during your absence in the show was that one of the things we constantly heard about Tank Davis when people brought up his lack of opposition, his fans would say, well, he doesn't care about legacy. It's about that bag, meaning the money. But then a list came out earlier this year of the top earning athletes in the world, and there were some boxers in there. Usyk, Fury, Lomachenko, Inoue was in there as well. Conspicuously missing was Tank Davis. So then the question becomes, okay, let's say he's making more money than Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. How much more? And is it worth it? Is that amount of money that he's making worth him pissing away his legacy and pissing off the fans by not fighting any top guys? Jimmy, what do you think about that? What's the real figure here? How much more is he making than all these other lightweights and super lightweights?
Again, Al Heyman supposedly, along with Floyd Mayweather, buys the bottom bowl, right? And they basically scalp the bottom bowl. So they own the bottom bowl. I don't know if he keeps the rest of the fucking gate. I heard if you read his contract, which is like the size of a Bible, he doesn't pay his fighters off the gate. They get paid their fee, and they get paid on a pay-per-view. If it hits a certain amount, it has to go over. Because, again, a pay-per-view has to sell a good amount. You know what I mean? They have to pay 50% to the fucking provider, which was Prime Video, and then they keep the other side. So Prime Video, like, you think they were impressed with the numbers they got last night? I mean, women's basketball with Caitlin Clark would probably do better numbers.
I mean, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. Again, I don't know the demographic too much over there anymore about what's hot and what's not. But getting back to that Shakur Stevenson, I want to hear too from Gonzalo or from Bucho. What do you guys think about that? A Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis fight. How would you guys see that one going?
Bucho wants to go first.
I'll just say Shakur
or Stevenson?
What Jimmy said. I mean, come on, Tank Davis. He's been exposed basically. He was exposed before, but now it's just there was a confirmation. This guy is completely overhyped.
Oh, Gonzalo.
I'd say it's 50-50 because Tank's got a chance to knock him out. I mean, Padley, the electrician that he fought, I mean, Shakur knocked him out, but I mean, he's obviously levels above that guy, and that guy made it to the 9th. But until he stopped him to the body, his power really looked lacking. Of course, he stopped him to the body, but that guy got called in short notice, and it's just 2-3 levels beneath him. But I don't like Shakur's style, like, you know, how he performed and usually runs against power punchers. To name like the Los Santos fight and how he's constantly getting his hands hurt. So if you got two A-sides in a fight where they're not always going to give the guy that's running, like a lot of times they do to these American backfoot fighters, the benefit of the doubt, and they'll give more, like in this fight where, you know, he really lost. Tank lost against what's his name? I forgot.
Roach?
Roach, Roach. Sorry, but Then okay, if you're giving credit to the guy that hits the hardest, and you're gonna be okay. I'm not gonna give credit to Shakur for running. Then when it goes to a decision, who knows? But I don't think Shakur can knock out Tank Davis. So depending what they're favoring on that night. But if Shakur like grossly like outboxes him, well, obviously Shakur wins. But if Shakur hurts his hands and it's looking like his punches are not effective, but then every now and then Tank drops a bomb, and well, he could knock him out, and potentially they favor that more over the runner. Yeah, but you know, Tank Davis, he's running to one of these situations where he's hitting 30. I don't know if he's 30 yet, but the cropper fighters that are coming behind him that have already surpassed him in the sense of capturing actual titles, like Davis, Keyshawn Davis, which have more size to them. And we know this style that when you're younger, I was mentioning Mike Tyson yesterday. Yeah, when you got all your reflexes and you got it put together, you're good. But now you're slow. You're not letting your hands go. Now you're facing the bigger guys in this division. Hey, you're not gonna do good. So he's kind of against a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, but Tank has the power to knock out almost anybody, maybe, right? But does Tank have the style to beat a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who's probably going to be running around for 12 rounds? I don't think so. I don't know.
Well,
I think you need volume. And this guy, he doesn't even throw punches, Tank Davis. Like, his output is very low.
Yeah,
historically low.
They'll favor the runner, not to get too much into race and stuff, but against a Mexican. But when two black guys are fighting that are both A-sides, are they really going to favor the runner against another African American? It might change just because of that.
First of all, the term is Afro. The term is Afro-Anglo.
Sorry.
But go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, what made Shakur so more dominating when he fought at the lower weight classes is the height. When he fights shorter guys who have short arms, which Tank does, he's a short guy with short arms, and Shakur is twitchy. You know what I mean? He can jump back and Tank unless he completely changes his lifestyle, but sometimes it's too late, right? 30, you've been fucking drinking like, you know what I mean? Like you're a fucking sailor on leave every fucking weekend. You know what I mean? It's just, you just telegraph your, remember how slow fucking Spence was, how wobbly he was on his feet?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got dropped fucking almost every time fucking Crawford hit him. I mean, it made Crawford look like one of the greatest fighters of all time because he beat him so fucking soundly.
Yeah, made him look like
nobody believed us. We kept saying, listen, he's a drunk. Every time you see the dude, you'll do right, baby. I'm like, you think that's not going to fucking affect him? I said he's going to get knocked out. Crawford's going to knock him out.
Well, I gotta tell you.
Tell me I was an idiot and fuck didn't know what I was talking about. Of course, never heard from them again.
Well, I should have apologized for that, by the way. I never did. But it's interesting though because that Shakur Stevenson fight. I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, based off the Roach fight, I completely unequivocally picked Shakur Stevenson to beat him. Although I would have picked him to beat him. I think I mentioned in the last episode, before last, that I would have picked Stevenson to beat Davis. And Stevenson is bigger than Roach. He's got faster hands, and I dare say just about as good in terms of the skills, if not even a little bit better. The only X factor for me is how does Stevenson fight Davis? Does he go in there and actually fight with some panache and some wherewithal and stand his ground the way he did against Hartunonian? Or does he get hit with a little something the way he did against Nakatila and against De Los Santos and say, you know what, I'm putting my running shoes on, my track shoes on, and I'm giving people a ride? That's the big question. Yeah. Roach had the wherewithal.
Because he doesn't like to get hit at all. The first time he gets cracked hard with something, he's just gonna bail out. That's why I don't like either fighter in that fight to win clearly.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's very likely a high possibility that both guys. It's a staring contest. However, one thing that Shakur Stevenson does have over Davis in regards to the fact that both are southpaws, it lines up Shakur Stevenson to be able to land that jab of his more often against a fellow southpaw. Davis, as we've seen now for the past 6 fights, doesn't have a jab. He's not active. So there is a clear path to victory for Shakur Stevenson. And Tank Davis should be the prohibitive, or actually, the clear underdog going into that fight. Again, am I 100% sure and sold on Shakur Stevenson? Absolutely not. Again, mentally, the guy's, we were talking about how Tank Davis is very feminine. So is Shakur Stevenson. Just in the last 3 days since his last fight, the word greatness, as it pertains to himself, has come out of his mouth at least 50 times now. He's an egomaniac on top of it. And again, doesn't like getting hit. And I know people are going to say, well, nobody likes getting hit. That's not the point. Some people can actually take it more than others. He doesn't want to take it at all, to the point where he starts running around the ring and actually costing himself around. So I would be interested to see how that fight goes. We got Raikkonen that's jumping in here.
To put it out there, some guys actually like getting hit. Julio Cesar Chavez said fucking nothing got him into a fight than getting cracked.
There you go.
And it focused him. Mickey Ward straight up told me, when I said, man, I was looking at my face in the mirror Friday night, about to go out, big swollen lip. I know I'm going to have a canker because fucking I had such a cut inside my mouth from sparring and shit. And my head was already thumping, the adrenaline's now gone. My boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, man, did you ever get used to the fucking pain? I told you that story, and getting used to getting hit. And he didn't even, without even giving it a second thought, he goes, I don't know, man, I kind of like it. And he threw his wraps in the fucking thing and shut the thing. And I remember I walked out of the gym and I never went back because honestly, it scared me. I'm like, God damn, I'd never want to like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think that getting hit, sometimes it's important. That way you can register and gauge what your opponent got. You get touched. I'm not saying intentionally, but okay, you want to feel his power. That way you can be, okay, can I handle it or cannot? And then you can gauge what are you going to do from there. But if you're not risking even to get hit one time, it's because you're scared. And that's just is not a good look, because you're always going to be afraid to engage in that first instance. You're never going to get the read on the actual power of the opponent.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Giselle, when a guy is leaping away from a flinch or a flicking jab or a feint, there's something wrong right there. And again, if Shakur Stevenson, I've said this numerous times, if Shakur Stevenson fights Davis the way he fought De Los Santos, where nothing's going on, two of the judges might give it to Tank Davis, especially if Davis is the one coming forward. So it's a very dangerous fight for Shakur Stevenson. It's up to Shakur Stevenson to win that fight. He's got it in his hands.
Or also, BDA, the whole thing that you maybe you're scared to feel the other opponent's power. That way you can, from there, you can kind of gauge what you're going to do. Maybe he's just scared that the first time he does get hit, he's just going to get knocked out on camera.
Maybe.
And he don't want to embarrass himself like that.
Yo, Recognize. What's up, my brother?
Jimmy, what's going on, Jimmy?
How you doing, my friend? So what did you think about Mr. Davis's performance last night? And Steve Willis?
Not surprised. I mean, I didn't pick Roach to win, but that was bound to happen to him. The guy has been declining.
Well,
Yo, can I add to that sadomasochism topic you were talking about with the boxing?
Sure.
Yes.
Didn't Brennan Rios say something about along the lines that it was sexually stimulating for him to get hit, like it turned him on?
Yes.
So what's up with that?
It's just some people. It's an endorphins to some people. They get an endorphin rush from it. You do get a callous face, like Mickey would say. The more I fight, right, I get calluses around my eyes. Around you get used to your fucking that thump to the head, You get used to it, And he liked it. He said he liked it. It got him into a fight. He knew that's when he would fight back the hardest. Well, you saw it against fucking every time a Toro hit him hard. That's when Mickey fucking came back. That's when he was at his best, when he got hit hard.
Well, I can relate to that in a small way. That I remember, like, sometimes you'd get like nervous before you spar, before you compete. But as soon as you take your first punch, all that's taken out of you, and now you're in a fight.
I'm the same way, dude. I got nervous before every sparring session. Butterflies.
Yeah. But once you get hit once, though, it's gone.
Yeah. You get butterflies no matter what. You're stepping in there, and there's always people in the gym. They always stop to watch. And
somebody's always watching, yeah.
Yep. So you want to make sure you don't fucking embarrass yourself.
Sobers, what have you been reading or seeing from Tank fans in regards to this performance? How are they trying to spin it, if at all?
So I seen a really good comment. I try to see if I can drop the screenshot in here. Some guy tried to twist it, saying like, all I see is two black men making money, and Gervonta Davis, he overlooked his opponent a little bit, but he actually really was doing Lamont Roach a favor and put him on another level. So he was really saying how, Gervonta Davis, by getting his ass whooped, was really doing the dude a favor. He's looking out for him.
So there's still people out there that believe that Tank Davis is fighting at 50%.
Kind of like purposely did it. You know what I'm saying? Like right, another thing, BD, I seen. A comment said that he purposely went to the hood with a bunch of money and started gambling and losing on purpose, just to look out for everybody around there.
Oh yeah. That's what somebody said. Yeah,
that's a weird way
he
of
was
looking out.
he was playing dice. That's what they said. He was playing dice and he lost, but that was his way of giving back to the hood, showing love to the hood. This is what again. I don't know. This is a comment that Sober's talking about. Again, I don't know if it's real. I mean, in the sense that I don't know if the guy's trolling or not. I don't even, so take it with a grain of salt. But this is what you have to say. 2 great things happened tonight. 2 black trainers worked in harmony together. Harmony? Where did he see harmony? Loved watching this post-fight of them both. No egos. And number 2, Tank got Roach paid and national recognition to boost his career, plus more money for both in the rematch. Fire. Then the guy goes, number 3, Tank got his ass beat. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Where did you find that, by the way?
I think underneath, I can't remember what, but must have been highlights of the video or something.
All right. They always got to make it about the community, and it is actually good for the community, for the people.
He actually set them up for 2 paychecks instead of 1. So he's playing 4D chess while y'all playing 3D. Y'all playing checkers.
Yeah, and next thing you know, they're gonna say
Tank Davis for the next fight.
Next thing you know, they're gonna say Davis actually included him in his insurance plan. He's part of his family or something, so he's actually getting free healthcare. Like, come on, man. That's a stretch. But shout out to Sobers for always finding. Sobers always finds these gems online.
Yeah, and it's like I know that Roach was mad, Lamont Roach, but in a way he accepted because he already knows what's coming. He's not the A side, so how much can he complain? I think he's more pissed off in private.
Did you hear him during the post fight press conference? I don't know if you guys brought it up, but Lamont Roach said that they were going back, they're jawing back and forth near the end of the fight, and Lamont Roach said that Gervonta Davis told him, they're not gonna give it to you. Like saying you can't win, right? You're not gonna win no matter what. I guess trying to still get one last edge on him. And Lamont Roach looked at him and said, why not? And he kept whooping his ass. But that was him trying to tell him, trying to cut him deep. He still knew that they're going to take care of him.
I mean, if it was 16-1 or 20-1, the casinos would have lost a lot of money. But who knows?
Yeah.
That's
a good point. That's another good point. Yeah, I saw that where Tank Davis, Lamont Roach said that. Lamont Roach also called out a bunch of YouTubers and Twitter people. Didn't appreciate the fact that a lot of them picked him to get his ass knocked out, which, I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, now you're a smaller guy coming up. That was the sensible thing to think. But, it's interesting, though, because we're talking about this event as if it was, the biggest event in the year, or at least that's the way they made that seem out to be. And it did have some interesting moments. I mean, in the undercard, we haven't even touched on it yet, but Gary Anton Russell defeating, what's his name? Rayo Valenzuela, taking away one of his baubles.
You waited for me. You waited for me to come on here and bring that up, huh?
Well, I mean, listen, I didn't have a chance to mention it yesterday, so it might as well bring it now. That was a 140-pound. By the way, I like that the photo that Ring Magazine chose for the article. Look at that. They just show Rayo taking a shot. But Rayo Valenzuela was another guy that I suspect a lot of people fell into the trap of overrating him because he beat Isaac Cruz, who was in turn overrated because he gave Tank Davis a tough fight, and in turn, Tank Davis was being overrated too. So it was a vicious circle. What did you guys think about that fight?
Man, Gary Russell, Antoine Russell, bro, he's on something. He's not clean. He's pissing nuclear straight through the cup. I know that for sure. Because the stamina he had in this fight was unreal. He was throwing hard shots the whole round and a lot. And that was really what was giving Valenzuela all the problems, right? Because he himself was landing hard, clean counters. And this dude was just eating it, right? So, I mean, he got the chin. I'm not going to take that away from him. But the stamina was a little, it looked a little enhanced. You know what I mean? He just didn't get tired. And he just swamped what's the name, Rayo Inactivity. And yeah, it was a good fight though.
He looked like yeah.
And how I knew they were cheating BDA, because his brother was in right there in the corner talking about he put that weird Viking mask on him, and he was like, our DNA can't be stopped. He said, our DNA can't be stopped. Yeah, for real. He was saying that.
Oh man. Well, the Russells are, I think they're, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're black Israelites. You know, those guys have some weird beliefs about how they came from the mountains and, you know, they created white people. And maybe I'm confusing them with the Nation of Islam. Whatever. They got some weird
That's
beliefs.
the Nation of Islam, bro.
Well, same
You're
thing.
thinking of the great Yakub.
The great, yeah, you're right. Yeah. But shout out to Gervonta Russell for.
Performance.
Go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
Shout out to who? Say again. I talked over you, giving credit to somebody or a shout out.
No, I just said Gervonta Russell for putting on a great performance.
Shout out to me.
Yeah, and sobers too.
Yeah,
sobers
no,
too.
I thought that was a good performance. There's nothing negative that you can say. You know, that dude threw like 1,000 punches. But you know, it's kind of weird, like so we're saying, because he was throwing more in the ladder, like in the 90, he threw like 100. That was crazy. I think Gary Russell, because they're all called Gary Russell Jr., right? All of them.
Yeah,
well,
like
the ex-world champ, the trainer of the brother, he's a pretty good trainer. I mean, he gives good advice. You know what? I was interested in hearing the Rayo Valenzuela corner with RGBA Robert Garcia. Because, I mean, what could you tell your fighter when he's getting his ass kicked so handedly that in order to change the game plan? But they never focused the camera on that side. You know, but could you actually tell him something? How to box him better or to, you know, pull out the rounds? I don't know. That's what I found more interesting. I wanted to know a little bit more about that, but they never showed it.
Yeah, that was weird now that you mentioned it. But yeah, Gervonta Russell looked like, what's his name? He looked a little bit like Jeff Fenech. Let Jeff Fenech in there, you know, nonstop aggression. Then there was a guy that beat Gervonta Russell in his last fight, and that was Puello taking on Sandor Martin. And I was surprised at how Martin was aggressive. He wasn't running around the ring, and yet he didn't get the decision. So 140 pounds is like 154 pounds nowadays. Everyone's always switching titles. Titles are switching hands every other fight. So it's interesting to see who stays on top, and let's see if Teofimo Lopez stays in that division and can remain the big dog. I opened up.
Yeah, I agreed with that decision, BD, with Puello because it was a close fight. But I thought Puello was landing the cleaner shots that were popping the other guy's head back. And I know the other guy probably threw and landed more, but he was just kind of like not slapping, but he was just going hook crazy. The Spaniard. It was a close fight. I thought Puello pulled it out in the later rounds.
I know Sobers kept saying that he was happy seeing Martin winning. He said, and I quote, "My countryman, Sandor Martin, is winning." I said, well, okay. So Sobers was really going for the Spaniard. But
he was doing a Reconquista.
Yeah.
And I know when he saw Sandor Martin, you know, what he saw behind him was Horizon of Gold, that belt. And there's just, you know, one native, you know, in the way. And he beat him, you know, the genetic memory just came into play. We saw the fight. They got really aggressive out of nowhere.
There you go, man. By the way, I just opened up the phone lines here, so there's still a lot of people that want to call in here. I know Dora I think this is Dora. Let's see if hear from a couple of people. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out.
Me T50?
So Dora, you're on the air, man.
Yeah, I hear myself in the background. Yeah. All right.
What's up?
Anyways, I was gonna say, I guess it was a pretty good card. Yeah, the Puello Martin fight was really close, and a lot of people seem to be kind of pissed off about that. But I mean, from what I had seen, it looked like a pretty competitive fight. I didn't actually watch the fight card, but whatever. I knew Gervonta Russell would beat Rayo. I knew Rayo was a fucking hype job. I always said Hideoka, fucking Jermaine Ortiz, Gary Russell would all destroy that guy, and I think I'm right on that. But when I look at Stank Davis' performance, I mean, people are like, like elevating Lamont and shit. That guy hasn't even proven to be the best fighter at 130. He beat Hector Luis Garcia, and that's it. There's a lot of guys at 130 that are like still good that could beat him. Ford, Navarrete, fucking Espinoza was moving up. I mean, he's going to stay at lightweight, but I'm just giving you hypotheticals here. What's that shark-looking guy? Fucking Shock Foster, you know. So many dudes could potentially beat Roach at 132. And at 135, forget about it, man. So, yeah, that dude's always been overrated. Gervonta Davis, I mean, we don't even really talk too much about that. But what I was like also wanting to talk about, because I'm not talking about Stank. I don't give a fuck about that guy.
Come on.
Tio, he's going to get a fight with Barboza. He's going to get a top 5 fight at 140 between Barboza and Tio. Such a great fight. Barboza actually didn't price himself out. And what I really liked about Turkey is he's starting to get boxing global, because people want to cry about, corruption, when he talked about how Hamza Shiraz was down on the scorecards. And yeah, Hamza probably should have lost that fight, but at least Adames eked out a draw. But there's open scoring in so many different commissions around the world. That's nowhere near as corrupt as having Steve Willis let fucking Tank's team come in there and wipe his fucking face off, like he just got food on his face like a baby. Fucking retarded. That's just pathetic, man. And what ended up happening
I got my hair done 2 days ago.
These guys they're paid to be bad, dude. That's what I was trying to get at. When Boutro talks about corruption, these reps are paid to be dog shit. Now Steve Willis, now Harvey Dock, now he's on all these bigger cards on the tape, paid to be shit. Fucking, we're gonna talk about who's Andre Ward's personal friend, Tony Weeks. I mean, fucking stop the Kovalev fight with low blows. The Rolly fight, stop that too with Barroso. Like these guys are paid to be fucking corrupt. So like, get boxing out of America. Get rid of the DEI, the BLM boxing. This is why Turkey's great for the sport. So that's good. But I'm a fan of him also allowing Tio to say whatever he wants and still giving him the fight. A lot of these Tanner individuals are ducking this guy. They're pricing themselves out. They're saying they don't have to fight him and all this bullshit. We had Bitch Chins just crying, saying, Tio ducked him because he's black, and was saying all that shit about black fighters when Bitch Chins was asking for $2.5 million. In what world is that guy worth $2.5 million? Barboza only asked for $1 million, and now you're getting the fight. Parr was an overachiever, and if you look at Mateus' fought last night against the top level IBF contender, I think his last name was Valenzuela too. He beat the fuck out of him somewhere in Puerto Rico. So let's get Bitch Chins versus Matias. Let's get Tio versus Barboza. Maybe the winners can fight each other. That's a really, really stacked, I guess, like top 4, top 5 fighters in that division. And then maybe Jermaine Ortiz can get some fights with Hideo Curse. I don't know. But 140 is good. We just need the fights. We got some of them tonight or last night, so that's good. We had 3 pretty big fights at 140. Matias, Russell, Rayo, and then fucking Puello and Martin. So 140 is actually getting hot now. It's actually becoming the division that we thought it would be a year ago. So I'm happy to see that. And I'm happy to see that Tio is no longer getting blackballed by fucking Black Rank,
come on. You had to use, come on.
Network, ESPN.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say. 250.
All right, you're fading out. You're fading out. I guess it's our luck, though. You're fading out. The more politically incorrect you get, the more you fade out. But shout out to you, Dora. Thank you for your call, and call back next time, man. Take it easy out there. He hung up.
Come on, we're supposed to get monetized again.
Yeah, thank you, Gonzalo. Yeah, you're right, man. And these guys, listen, I always put up the disclaimer. The views expressed by the callers and the panelists are not representative of the BDA organization. So anyone has a problem with that, they can contact the BDA attorneys. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 952. 952, you're on the air. 952, what's in your mind?
Hey, what's up?
952.
You hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you, 952. What's up?
So I've been listening to the show for the last 30 minutes. I just got off work, so I thought I'd call in again. So I got a question. Who are the top fighters? I want to know, who do y'all think are the top fighters? Because all the guys, y'all, that everybody know are in the top spot. They're overrated. They cheat. They're this, that, and the third. Something always, there's always some kind of weird excuse. So who are the top fighters? Who are the top guys in boxing?
Well, hold on.
Since y'all keep putting down.
I'm confused. Which are the guys that you said are the top guys that are always cheating?
No. I'm talking about everybody is talking bad about Tank and all the other fighters, that Stevenson, those guys, Devin, basically the black fighters. Like, it's a known fact that those are the top guys, but you guys are not willing to go along with that. So who are the top fighters in your eyes?
Well, hold on a second. I don't think we said they're not the top guys. When did we say that?
No, I'm just saying you guys are very overly unnecessarily critical of them, but yet everybody else is just doing everything right except them. So who are these guys?
Hold on,
but
what did we say? Hello.
All the black fighters are pointing. Hello. Fighter that's not black is not pointing. Who are the guys you're talking about?
All right. Well, first of all, what did we say that you disagree with? You tell us.
No, I'm listening.
Well,
I noticed
for one opinion to the caller, he got a draw in a fight that he should have lost against another black fighter. Everybody knows who the top fighters are, like Usyk, Inoue.
Usyk, Inoue, Canelo, Beater Beef, Bevo.
I don't hear.
There you go. That's 5, 6 right there.
I don't hear y'all.
Knock
I don't hear y'all mention. I don't hear y'all mention them though. I never heard nobody. I've been coming on this channel for a while, like a month now. I've never heard none of y'all say the best fighters are Usyk, Beterbiev, Bivol. One of y'all got mad when somebody said Bivol's the Mexican executioner because he's beat up the top Mexican fighters. I heard something like that, but I've never heard y'all. He just named all those guys, right? None of those guys. I've never heard none of y'all say they're top fighters.
Well, I suppose you haven't really been listening.
I just want to know.
Well, hold on a second.
I just
one
want
at
to
a
know.
time. One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
Fighters.
You haven't been listening to the show that long then, because those are the guys that we've consistently talked about. Usyk, Inoue.
I've never heard y'all say Bivol, Beterbiev, Usyk.
Okay, well, that's not my problem. That's not my problem. That's not my problem that you haven't heard it. You haven't heard the show that long then.
So that's who y'all think the top fighters?
Well, who did I say?
Those are the top guys?
Usyk, Beterbiev. Well, actually,
no, it wasn't you.
I'll try to go in order.
Was Usyk, Canelo, Bevo, Inoue,
Usyk, Crawford.
That's a shot.
Fighter too.
He been catching a lot of salt.
Okay. Well,
I'm surprised somebody said Crawford.
Anything else you want to say, caller? Because you're asking a lot of questions. You're not making any points, man.
No, I'm just saying. Today's show. I'm going on today's show.
Okay.
I don't want to go in too deep into the past.
Okay. Well,
based on today's show?
Please make a point, man, because we got other callers.
You guys are calling Tank Davis. You guys are really mad about what happened yesterday? I already told you.
We're not mad.
Tank
Davis got exposed. Tank Davis should have lost the fight. Everybody's saying, a lot of people are saying this, that Tank Davis should have lost the fight. It's not just us. Just go on the internet and you're going to see it. And by the way, what did you think about the referee? I would like to know what you think about what happened. When Tank took a knee, when he went to his corner and he should have been disqualified. What do you think about all of that?
Nah, I will agree that knee thing was weird. That was weird. But the referee didn't count it. So we got to go off what the referee did. The referee did not count it. If the referee would have counted it, then Roach should have won. I'll agree that's true. But he didn't count it. So we can't trip off that. That was weird. But in terms of them fighting, it kind of looked like a draw. There was no part in the fight where Roach took control of the fight and was just dominating Tank. He hit him with a couple of shots, but that was pretty much it. People are acting like he dominated Tank. No. Now, the knee thing don't count. So we can't really go off of that. Even though it should have counted. That was weird that he did that.
Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of weird or it's kind of corrupt maybe or incompetent. It's got to be one of those. And let's be direct. Did you think the fight was kind of competitive or did you think it was competitive?
No, it was competitive. Roach was game. I did more research. Like I said yesterday, he has an amateur background with him, so he knows Tank. He knows his fighting style. He knew what to expect. He didn't fall for none of the little tricks the other fighters fall for. And knowing their amateur background, it kind of makes sense that would happen. So it all makes sense.
But Tank got exposed, and I'll tell you why. Tank got exposed. And I'll tell you why, because we've seen this before. We saw this against Isaac Cruz, who's supposed to be a nobody. He lost to Valenzuela as well. So this guy is not a great boxer. He was a late replacement, and Tank Davis, he struggled against him. Now he struggled against a 130-pounder, and who's moving up in weight, obviously. But the Las Vegas odds were 9-1. So Tank Davis was a 9-1 favorite. No, sorry, 16-1 favorite. 16-1 favorite.
Wait a minute. 16. You got to give credit to the fighters, though. You're not gonna dog walk everybody. These guys can fight. Like there might be a fight or two or three.
Caller. Sorry, I understand. You can't. You're not gonna dog walk everybody, but Tank Davis has been struggling against some of these fighters. He's supposed to be a pound for pounder. That's how they are. A lot of people claim he's a pound for pounder. He's not. That's what we're saying. He's not. He's been exposed. Is he a terrible fighter? No, he's not a terrible fighter, but he's not a great fighter. He's not a great fighter, and you don't like to hear that.
Nah, that you can say what you want. You're talking like he's losing these fights. He's winning these fights. Every fight you're not going to. It ain't going to be peaches and cream. Right? If anybody got exposed, it was Pitbull Cruz. He got exposed. He had that good fight against Tank. They put him in there with some real niggas. Started getting his ass whooped. He got exposed. He's not that good.
No,
actually winning these fights.
Tank got exposed. Tank got exposed. Isaac Cruz is not. He's a nobody. I'm sorry. Isaac Cruz is not a great boxer. Neither is fucking Rolly Romero.
So
none of these guys are.
Do you agree with this?
How can you look at?
Do you agree with this part?
That Tank didn't
struggled
actually
because Isaac Cruz was getting this fight. Could you please give Isaac Cruz that credit? Like, okay, he fought really good. He didn't win. That's the most important thing. He did not win the fight. He competed really well in that fight. Okay, we can give him that. All right.
All right. Everyone's talking
how
about
should the fight go then?
Actually lost that fight. Caller. Tank actually lost that fight last night. If the referee would have did his job, when a man takes a knee, that's a knockdown. That's a standing 8 round. That's a 10-8 round. So he lost.
Had to count that he counted. He probably would have lost by like 1 round. I'll say
1 point. Yes.
113. Listen, I agree with that.
Caller. 2 judges had it 114. Had those judges had the referee would instruct the judges that was a knockdown, they would have gave it a 10-8 round, and he would have won by 1 point on 2 judges' scorecards. He would have won a split decision. Tank actually lost according to the rules last night. He actually lost that fight.
I'm not mad at that, and I admitted to that. However, the referee didn't count the knee. Going off of that, it was a draw.
The referee. Okay, first of all, let me say something to you. That's not a judgment call. I want to clarify that. When a man takes a knee, it's automatic. That's a knockdown.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not up for the judge, for the referee's interpretation. That's him giving himself up at that moment. That doesn't mean the fight's over. It's saying, I cannot defend myself right now, so I'm going to take a knee so that way I could stop the onslaught, right? So everybody knows this. Everybody who knows boxing is aware of this. So that referee should have given him a standing 8 count or stop the fight. One of the two. Okay?
All that sounds good, but the referee didn't do it. So we got to go with what we got. We got to go with what we got.
Well, actually, he didn't do his job. Wait, hold on. The referee did not do his job. That when you take a knee, that's not up for interpretation. Hold on, time out. That is not up for interpretation. That doesn't mean it's up to the referee. No, that's an automatic standing 8 count, or you stop the fight. 1 or 2.
So what part? You're not understanding what I'm saying. That they count that.
Well, it's corruption.
What should have happened?
Corruption.
If you look at the referee, he initially starts counting. If you look at the referee, he initially caller. I'll finish this part. I'll let you say this. When you look at the referee, he initially starts to count. You watch him. Go replay it. He starts to count. He starts doing his job.
Okay, yeah,
He's actually
saw
doing
that.
his job. Then he stopped.
Then that happened, right? The knee part, but they didn't count it on the cards for whatever reason. They should have, yes.
Because of the referee. Because the
Ain't nobody
referee didn't call
co-signing
it a
that.
knockdown. No, because the referee didn't call it
So
a
we gotta-
knockdown. He initially.
He
Listen,
should have, though,
here's the thing. When you cannot call timeout in the middle of a fight of a round. You cannot call timeout, right? You call timeout as a referee. I call it a standing 8 count, or I stop the fight, meaning I stop it against you and award the other guy the winner.
All right, listen, we got to move on here. But
You
caller,
know, but-
one last thing. Caller, give your last statement, please, because we got to move on here. We got other calls.
Yeah, I think the reason why he didn't call it because he hit him with like a light jab. I don't believe that hurt him. It wasn't me that got hit, which I don't know for sure, but I don't think it hurt him. But like I said, it was a delayed response. But he kind of got right back up like nothing was wrong with him. And I think the refs just said, well, or the judge just didn't count it as a knockdown because of that. That's what I'm thinking. Because when you look at his body language, he didn't seem hurt at all. So I think that's why they did that. But they didn't count that. So we got to go with what happened. That's what happened. So it was a draw. So that's just what it is. And corrupt things happen in boxing all the time. So it is what it is.
Right. Well, listen, we got to move on. Recognize we got to move on here. But shout out to the caller. Thank you for your call, and call back next time. Take it easy out there. All right, we got to because there's been people waiting here on the phone lines, man. We can't go back and forth with the callers here. That's all right. That's all right. No, but you made your point. I mean, at the same time, we got to call out the corruption. We can't just say, "Well, the referee fucked up, so let's just let it happen." No, man, you gotta call it out. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 223. 223, you're on the air. 223, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, 223?
Who do you guys got between the Tank rejects, Raleigh Romero and Ryan Steroid Garcia?
It's a good question. I mean, you never know with Ryan Garcia. You never know with Ryan Garcia. The guy doesn't train properly. He doesn't take his career seriously. At least Rolly Romero shows up in shape.
What's that? Steroid tacos. He gonna be ready.
He's gonna be
Raleigh, he got that retarded strength, so he gonna be good.
I mean, I don't know. I don't put too much stock on either guy.
I mean, I would take Ryan Garcia off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's an easy fight for Ryan. He knocks him out with the 3 rounds.
Ryan knocks him out eventually. He clips him with a left he doesn't see, like Ryan does to most fighters when he's fully hydrated. He'll knock him out with that left. So that's what I see happening.
Hey, he got retard trained, but it doesn't necessarily mean he can take a punch because he's getting knocked out by
if little tank can knock him out, I'm sure Ryan. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed a win, right? But if Ryan's in any type of shape, if he's in anything close to what he was against Duarte, if he comes in the way he came against Devin Haney, which was like 70%, he probably knocks him out. Probably knocks Rolly out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Anything else, caller?
No, that's all my questions. I need to put my bets down, so I just wanted to make sure I got expert opinions. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Hopefully that helps you out.
Expert opinions just I wouldn't consider my opinion an expert opinion.
Too late, man.
Pattern
Too late.
recognition.
That's already how he labeled it. You've been labeled an expert.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. You're not an expert, but I mean, that's what the caller said. Let's go to another phone call. I'm kidding around. Let's go to our phone call. Let's go to 412. 412, you're on the air. 412, what's on your mind?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Absolutely. 412, what's up?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. So, look, obviously, Tank was fraud checked. That's obvious to everybody. I think the other caller, a couple of calls back, again, this is why I actually don't blame Tank. If you listen to Tank speak, it's clear that he has confidence issues, right? He talks about going to therapy. He's done many things in the past where he's shown that he doesn't have the highest level of confidence in the ring. I truly think he has some serious confidence issues psychologically.
Is that right?
And that's what's holding him back from performing. Yes, absolutely. Like, look, in boxing, mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. I really think Tank, physically, skill-wise, he could be a legit pound-for-pound type fighter, but he just mentally doesn't have it. That's why he's checked out. Like, he has got 1 foot outside the game. So I really don't blame him. It's just the fans, man. Like, nobody, like, his fan base does not want to keep him in check and basically say, look, you need to start fighting some real competition. I mean, the fact that this guy has reached this level without a single unification fight, that's scandalous, man. That's a scandal. And it's just you look at, like, guys that, and I can't tell you how many times I've looked at the I've seen people's pound for pound lists, and I see them put Tank above like Bivol, Better BF, and all these guys who have basically done nothing but fight unification fights, and they don't turn down fights. And it just it bothers me. And I know you guys are Canelo fans too. This is why I'm critical of Canelo as well. Like, it's just the string of, I know Canelo he's gone through his phase of fighting everybody. So credit to him, right? But he's definitely now in the Tank phase. He's behaving like Tank now, and you can say that he deserves to, whatever. But that's basically what it is. I'm not surprised. This was bound to happen. He was bound to get fraud checked. On the whole knee thing, look, Muhammad Ali had his eyes stinging for an entire round against Sonny Liston. Because Sonny Liston rubbed some type of material on his gloves, right? They were cheating like crazy. Muhammad Ali couldn't see for an entire round. He did not take a knee. You can't see, then you just use your legs, dance, move, create some distance. Like, that's how you handle that. Now, if you choose to take a knee, I'm sorry, that's a knockdown. If you want to take a knee and get your eyes wiped, that's a knockdown. So the ref screwed up. Tank, listen, it's a draw, but let's be real. It's a loss. When you fight somebody who's a weight class below you and the odds are minus 1,600, that is a loss. And his fans, they need to come to terms with that. The other guy, the caller, man, listen, people are just too attached, man, to their fighters. And this is, a lot of it is racial. Like the other dude, all right, he's a black guy. He loves Tank. So he's never going to say anything bad about Tank. They're a bunch of Mexican fans. They love Canelo. They're never going to say anything about Canelo. So it's the only thing I hate about boxing, man. Let me tell you.
Well, let me just clarify that when I don't know what you're talking about that guy's Afro-Anglo, that guy's Chinese. Because when somebody calls in, I don't hear race. I don't see race either. I'm a human being all the way. That's the way I do it. By the way, the other thing is, so far recognized, you've been called an expert today and a Canelo fan. So one of those isn't true. And I let you recognize which one is false and which one's true. Which statement is false, which one's true. Anything else, caller? Anything else, caller, you want to say before we move on?
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to say about the Better Biev and Bivol rematch, I didn't call in after that fight. But how did you guys have it? I actually scored it a draw. I thought Better Biev won rounds. I thought he swept rounds 3 to 7, and he won round 12. So that's 6-6. So I scored it a draw. What did you guys have it?
Anyone want to chime in? How did you guys have the Beterbiev Bivol rematch? Anyone remember, real quick? Well, I tell you what, caller, I had Bivol edging it again this time. Bucho?
Yeah, Bivol again. I had him winning the first fight and the second fight.
There you go. That's how we had it there, caller.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right. And listen, just you guys can admit that you're Canelo fans. There's nothing wrong with being a Canelo fan.
I mean, I like the guy, but I'm not a fanboy. If that makes any sort of sense, that delineation. But anyway,
what are you talking about, man?
I mean, I'm a fan. I mean,
yeah. Well,
I don't know why not.
Well, there you go. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Guys, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but did you guys notice Tank's face and ears super red? It almost seemed like it started happening immediately before, as the fight was going on. I have a feeling that that's a sign of something else. It's almost like he was having a hives attack.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just say bye to the caller. Caller, thank you for your call. Call back next time, man. Take it easy out there.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right. Yeah, you recognize, you always come up with these weird theories. I remember when you said Luis Ortiz.
It was like a stimulant attack.
Hey, you know what? Okay, now you're that makes sense. That's possible. Yeah. I thought you were just saying he was having some sort of dermatological attack or something.
Like a reaction to some chemicals in his body.
You can leave it here, boss. Sí, well, lucky.
Recognize. Look at how Recognize talks to the help. Aquí, cabrón.
Aquí, pendejo.
Aquí, hijo de puta. No, but you know what? Yeah, you know what? I have to rewatch I Recognize because I didn't see that the hives thing. Well, I mean, you come up with some interesting theories, man. Remember when you said Luis Ortiz had a hairpiece on? when he fought when he rematched Deontay Wilder and his hair was falling out?
Yeah, I think somebody pointed that out to me. I think that's what it was.
No, recognize. We talked about this in Davis's last fight. Well, who was it with?
Against Martin.
Yeah. Remember we brought up how his face got really red and flushed at it really quick in that fight. It's been for his last 2 fights. He's been looking like that.
Well, I mean, I think in the Martin fight was
like an alcoholic, bro.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. He almost reminds me of an alcoholic, the way its face gets red up, because he's really light.
He just gets flushed quick.
Well, you never know, man. I guess Martin, I think it's because he was blocking shots and his face was getting shaved. But you never know, man. Jimmy's been talking about it since he got here, that Tank Davis recently sympathized with Errol Spence online, saying, oh yeah, I know, because Errol Spence said, man, the alcohol really did me in. And Tank Davis said, oh, I can relate to that, or something akin to that. So yeah, man, something's going on with Tank Davis. Might be enjoying his he might have gone into his uncle's liquor cabinet a little too often, if you know what I mean. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I think if you spend a lot of time in the beauty salon getting your hair done, I think you get a pass. You know, it's probably in the contract somewhere. May take a knee once or twice during fight for excessive gel leak or whatever. He gets his nails done. He gets his hair done. So, I wouldn't put it past him. So I had to rewatch the fight again, and I still have it 7-5 Roach without the knockdown. So, I don't know. I think when he was playing keep away at the beginning of the fight, he wasn't letting Roach do too much, but Roach was still landing on the guy. I got to address the other caller too. It's like I don't like this mentality where it's all or nothing. Like there's no room for nuance. Yeah, he didn't dominate Tank Davis, and I don't think anybody's saying that. But he clearly won the fight. I mean, he did win more rounds than Tank Davis. He threw more punches. He landed more punches. But I like, if it's not all or nothing, then it doesn't count. Like, if you didn't completely dominate him, then Tank won. Like, what the fuck kind of way to watch the sport is that? The sport's built on a lot of nuance. You know, there's a lot of work you have to do to achieve a victory. You know, you have to achieve landed blows, clean blows, ring generalship. You have to display defense. You also have to display some fucking balls, like Badu Jack with the 3-inch fucking gash in his forehead. Never took a knee. Went 12 rounds. Never fucking complained. That's the kind of guy you have to be in these fights to have people respect you. I can't respect that, dude. Like, I got some gel in my face, or I got some fucking hair product in my face. I have to take a knee. What the fuck is that? That's the gayest shit I've ever fucking seen.
Well, it sounds like you're being racist and homophobic. The double whammy, if there ever was one.
I didn't say anything racist. Maybe homophobic, but not racist. I mean, what kind of a faggot does that shit?
I heard a dog whistle.
Yeah.
Don't you find it odd that his corner was literally waiting? You know what he could have done with that hair product? It's the same lube he uses for his asshole to have his boyfriend.
Come on. You know what? No.
Come on. It's like, oh, hey, what do you do? Oh, I think it's in the contract. Oh, my asshole's leaking. I got to take a knee. That's pretty much what Tank Davis did, you guys. This is your king. This is your king. This is it. This is the guy.
You know what?
This is the savior of fucking boxing right here.
Speaking of saviors,
the face of 60,000 pay-per-view buys.
Speaking of saviors, you need to get right.
Pay-per-view buys.
You're not gonna talk over me, Satan. Speaking of savior, you gotta get right with the Lord. You gotta get right with the Lord because you're all over the place, and I'm not gonna have it. Not gonna have it.
The fucking Lord is the savior.
No, but you know what though? Yeah, it's, real quick. What you said about the nuance, it's true because look, a fight can be close, but close doesn't necessarily mean that it can swing any which way. A fight can be competitive, but there can be a clear win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that one, man.
It's called ring generalship. I mean, who's controlling the ring?
Yeah, exactly. It's
who's setting the pace?
It's ring generalship, and And there's a lot of nuance in ring general shit because you could display more defense and counter punches, and you could display a higher output. You know, and then you can ring generalships. You basically controlling the pace of the fight, and you have to have some of those variables. And it wasn't a clear pick'em fight where I picked Roach because he completely dominated. You don't have to dominate a guy to win a fight. You don't have to. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is display enough of these traits, and then this is without the knock. This is without the technical, the knockdown. That knockdown, like Recognize said, is in the rules. It's not a judgment call by the ref. It is a fucking rule of the sport. Can people just get their fucking head out of their fucking ass?
Oh, come on.
And use critical thinking skills and just something. It's fucking annoying. Like, we're just going to hear about the excuses from now on. And all the building up of Roach. Man, Roach is a C-level fighter. Tank Davis, to me, is a C+, B- at best. That's it. B- at best. At best.
Well, there you go.
And who's he fought? A faded Pedraza, fucking 8 years ago? That was the only legitimate champion he's fought. That's it. A faded Pedraza. That's it. Everyone else is featherweight. I mean, hey, the Leo Santa Cruz, I like Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz was the real deal. But, hey, Leo Santa Cruz is also coming up in weight. Mm-hmm. And he was piecing Tank up before the knockout. And I already said this last night. How do you get? What credit do you get for getting outboxed by Rolly fucking Romero?
Imagine in the World Series, right? Fucking bases loaded, right? You're down by fucking 4 runs, so and the guy's up. He's got 2 strikes, and he swings at the ball, fucking completely misses, and he turns to the umpire who just gives him the fucking hard strike 3, right? And the guy turns, goes, no, a mosquito flew into my eye. Okay, guys, never mind, I'll be back on the field. You know what I mean? Like, there's set rules. You can't excuse it away. The dude took a knee. It's a standing 8 count. Why did he stop? Did he stop because he saw that his corner was fucking Johnny on the spot with the towel? Like, what motivated Steve Willis to stop counting other than corruption? An embarrassment to the sport.
Corruption.
You know, Jimmy,
I agree. It was one of the strangest fights I'd seen in a long time. And no, I don't think anybody here's mentioning the other thing that happened that Recognize talked about in the chat last night. I'm sorry, on Never Sober's chat that I was on last night. Shout out to Never Sobers.
Thank you for giving us.
Recognize was talking about Recognize was talking about the excessive low blows. The low blows. You guys were mentioning low, and I was paying attention some more, and man, I resaw the fight. I rewatched it. Excessive low fucking blows. He got warned. Never got a point deducted for the low blows.
That's right. No, you got it. You're on point right there, Don.
I don't know. You know what? I don't care for the fanboy shit. You know, and people are gonna. How dare you say anything bad about Tank? You must be a Canelo fan. Hey, I haven't bought a fucking Canelo pay-per-view since. Fuck, I don't know.
Since the last time
I don't know when's the last time I bought a fight. The Triple Z fight. That's the last time I bought the Canelo pay-per-view.
The last time Don Madrazos bought a Canelo fight was when he wasn't swearing, which is a long time ago. All right, well, listen, Don Madrazos.
That was before he found my Discord.
That was a long time ago.
That's right. That was before, that's before he started crediting Sobers for everything Sobers done for the community. Well, listen, Don Madrazos, you didn't pull the Madrazos today, as always. So shout out to you, man. Real appreciate your call, and call back next time, man. Take it easy out there.
Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, man. All right, let's go to one final phone call, because then we got to move on to other stuff here. We're already been on for 2 hours. Let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Oh, that might be Tank.
BDA, it's no, he's not in the same area as me, thankfully.
Okay.
But no, we talk about this all the time. You know, like they never give the black fighter a fair shake. You know, Lamont Roach beat that boy.
Hey, you know what? Some people were actually saying
It was
just
the light.
racism.
Who was lighter skinned, Tank Davis or Roach?
I noticed that was Davis, but yeah, on that note, you guys mentioned like flushing of his face. I think both the skin tone changing and the redness, right, is capillary dilation, like because he's an alcoholic, like his blood
Allegedly,
vessels thin,
allegedly.
and they pop more easily.
Allegedly,
I'm not allegedly. I mean, there's pretty good evidence.
I mean,
But,
I'm covering
yeah,
my ass here.
sure.
I'm covering my ass here.
Well, you talked to Raphael Shapiro, I guess, about that.
I will.
But no, like I wanted to emphasize a different angle. Everyone's talking about the missed knockdown call, but there was a far greater infraction. His corner took a towel and wiped his face. And it doesn't matter if that was just an innocent gesture. You can't do that mid-round. You can't come up over the ring apron and stick your hand into the ring. Right? That's a disqualification automatically. Yeah. And you know, I hate to notice a pattern, you know, as a great noticer I am. But this tends to happen, like a few times it happens, right? Like with Mayweather, Judah, right? Like Roger Mayweather leapt into the ring, sort of the Ellerby. And they got like post hoc, like fines and I think bans or whatever, like limited time bans. But you're supposed to disqualify the fighter whose corner jumps into the ring. Like those are the actual rules. So the whole scorecards, the knockdown, it's all a moot point. Like Davis should have just been disqualified and lost on that basis. And those are the rules of the sport. And I don't know. I hope Lamont Roach realizes that he should just get a good lawyer because he can get more out of these people than they're ever going to pay him for a rematch or whatever. Like he should just sue the commission. He should sue the promotion. And it doesn't matter if it takes 5 years. He will win. Like the bylaws are very clear. It's clear that they endangered him by doing this. So the intent or whatever is totally immaterial. Like I hope someone actually finally, you know, goes down that because the sport is like a chicanery circus. Fine.
A what?
But you know, when you actually like commit these like basic infractions that make the sport literally more dangerous than it is, right? Then like there should be in a good, you know, tradition of American litigiousness, you know, a consequence for that.
Well, listen, I'm against frivolous lawsuits and any type of frivolous litigation. That's something that was imparted on me by my mentor and attorney, Refeering Shapiro. He says, listen, unless you actually need me, you don't call me. Also, I kind of take umbrage with the fact that you said the noticing, and then you bring up Zab Judah. Of all the fighters you could have brought up, you had to bring up a Jewish one after you said noticing. So, I don't know. I guess you want to take it down or something? I don't know. You better watch it.
Well, it was actually a different angle than the Jewish one. It was a different demographic I was noticing, but I guess you noticed something else that I didn't.
Oh, don't flip it out on me, man. Actually. Don't flip it out on me. Hey, speaking of litigation, I will sue you for defamation. Defamation of character.
Well, you know what? I will sue you for a hostile call environment, for the profanity-laced tirades that you went on your streams, BDA. I think someone should look into this.
No, you heard me. You heard me hitting the button, the censoring. Like, see, I was censoring.
Well, I for one, I'm a good Christian. It's a Sunday, and I am emotionally traumatized.
Come on.
By week in, week out, this type of
censoring. They say that. Speaking of censoring, BDA, I heard your lawyer, Refeering Shapiro, hates people noticing things.
Well, I gotta tell you, it's he likes to work behind the scenes. He doesn't like people knowing who he is, so I don't blame him for that. Well, listen, caller, we gotta move on, but thank you for your call. Hopefully you don't sue, and we'll talk later, man.
I'll see you in court.
Shit. All right, too late. Take it easy, man. Thanks for calling in. I gotta get the dream team ready now. Shapiro, Cochran, the whole gang. All right, listen. Shout out to everybody who called in. We're gonna call it a day with the calls because we gotta move on to other stuff before we leave. Did anyone catch? Because we didn't go on the air afterwards. Did anyone catch Junto Nakatani fighting last Tuesday or Monday? Excuse me, Monday.
Did anyone catch what?
Did anyone catch Junto Nakatani on Monday?
Oh yeah, the destruction of Cuellar. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I got to watch it.
What'd you think?
Nakatani just outclassed him. The dude took a couple of shots well, but only for like 2 rounds. He was just getting caught too clean. Junto seemed to have like maybe a round and a half where the dude might have given him a problem, but then he figured him out. He was hitting him with everything. It kind of looked like that Jared Hurd fight,
Mm-hmm.
That guy Jared Hurd was fighting last night, Gonzalez. He was just hitting him with everything he threw, and he finished him with a nasty combo. I think he went upstairs, downstairs, and the guy Cuellar, man, he just couldn't handle it. He landed a couple hard shots on Junto, but he just couldn't handle it being a firefight with him.
Yeah,
Nakatani's really good, man.
He's very good. He tried. Cuellar tried, but it's just Nakatani. Nakatani is starting to remind me. I'm not exaggerating here. Hopefully, I'm not. He's starting to give me Manny Pacquiao vibes. Now, I'm not saying he's like Manny Pacquiao, obviously, but what I'm saying is that he makes it look incredibly easy in there via his devastating power. This is about what, the 6th time he stopped somebody? Let me see. The last time he went the distance, I think it was against Chihuas Rodriguez back in 2022.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
This dude Cuellar was like his same size. Nakatani usually enjoys a size difference over all of his opponents in the weight class, but Cuellar was just about as big as him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good question. A good question answered. Like, can he take shots from someone his size, or how will he react if he doesn't have that size advantage? Should he act exactly the same? He'll beat you down.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, that's what some people in the Discord were saying. It's like, hey, man, Cuellar's got size on him. We'll see what happens. And I was intrigued too. I was like, all right, now he's fighting a guy who's a half an inch taller than his, and it didn't matter. So far, Nakatani, he knocked out Maloney. No, excuse me. Hey, the last time he went the distance was against RG Cortez, who gave El Gallito Estrada all he could handle not that long ago either. So he stopped Santiago, he stopped Astrolabio, Salapat, and now Contreras. Cuellar, actually. So it's been, he's on a 4-fight stoppage streak. Man, I'd like to see him in there against Bam or against Inoue. Either one of those guys. But apparently, Bam is looking to fight Puma, El Pumito Martinez, and Inoue, he's going to be fighting in May against somebody else. Apparently, it's not MJ. So,
and shout out to Rudy Hernandez, his trainer, I believe. I'm pretty sure he is, because he never gets mentioned among the best trainers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So Junto Nakatani is a guy that, I know Dora's been saying, I think me and Dora have been saying in the Discord that's a guy that's top 10 pound for pound, and kick Gervonta Davis out of the top 10 pound for pound list and put Nakatani and Bam Rodriguez in there. Those are the guys that should be on there. Kenshiro Taraji too, probably.
I thought you were going to say kick off Davis and put on a Lamont Roach.
You know what? That wouldn't be the craziest thing. I mean, Roach is on a good winning streak. Why not? Borderline top 10 pound for pound.
And the Roach reversed that spray and got it in Tank's fucking ears.
But the two guys he fought after losing to Jamel Herring, right? Had combined, I think it was 27 losses.
Damn. I mean, I gotta tell you. Hey, speaking of losses,
he was facing competition.
Yeah, you're right.
How can you be a tank if you can't squash a Roach?
Yeah.
Listen, Roach is a fucking sound, fundamental boxer who does nothing special. He doesn't have power. He doesn't have overly fast hands. He has basic footwork, and he had a good game plan. The thing is, when you keep your head in that peekaboo style with wide elbows, with your sternum blinking like a fucking strip club fucking sign, Tank should have been popping that fucking sternum with jabs to bring those hands down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, bring the hands down, right? Boom, right hand over the top. But he doesn't have a jab. I mean, the fucking kid doesn't know what round it is. So how's he supposed to make fucking, did you make any adjustments? No, I was still trying to figure out what round it was in.
Come on.
Fuck out of here.
Well, I
guess he punch drunk or what? Was he drunk in there?
Well, he sounds like
when your whole career, right? When you're a manufactured champion, everything about you was a lie. So when you're a fan of somebody like that, everything you have to elevate is a lie. So you start off in lying. Oh, this guy don't know. Fucking Pitbull Cruz, man. That fucking dude, he could probably be in the Hall of Fame someday. You know what I mean? And listen, in the hurt hand, remember that picture he sent out? No evidence of a hurt hand. Didn't go to the hospital. No casts. A hurt hand. Every boxer's fucking hand is hurt. Fucking, I mean, Mickey and Arturo had their hands literally sit in buckets of ice. They were so swollen after beating each other almost to death. You know what I mean? What he did is, if you look at the picture, he's got his hand on the fucking edge of his car door, like, you know, where you shut the car door, and he's kind of pushing down to make the side of his hand swell out a little. That was the picture he took. I hurt my hand. Okay, dude. Of course you did. Of course you did. Because you're a one-trick pony, dude. You got that big uppercut, but fucking you couldn't do it on Cruz because that kid had no neck and as tough as nails, and you just couldn't do it.
He's having like these alcoholic
withdrawals.
withdrawals in his face. No, but those are when you see when the guy gets like real cherry in the face, and you know, look,
when they get that big red nose.
Tank,
you know,
Tank is fairly light skinned, right? For a black dude, he's definitely on the lighter side.
He's white,
so
let's just call it what it is.
Right. So
he's let's call him a quadroon.
A quadroon, right? That's what he is. So so when he gets hit up, he's overmarking for a guy that's not getting hit that much. On top of that, too, you know, and he's not getting hit with like some really hard shots. I noticed it in the Frank Martin fight, and now I noticed it this time where his ears were like his earlobes were really red, his face, like there was like this real reaction. I think the dude was having a nervous breakdown.
You know what?
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Also, BDA, recognize. Somebody mentioned that he got hit with the jab right before he got that delayed reaction. He took a knee. Well, I think he got caught with the clean punch in the eye, and it could have been because of hairspray. I don't know, but usually fighters got Vaseline all over their face, and they never complain about how the Vaseline got in my eye. Usually, air products are made of petroleum. I don't know what he was wearing or using. But I think he just got caught with the clean punch, and his eye, his face is sensitive, like you mentioned, and it must have hurt something.
When I used to work in
worked out or sparred and sweat, then you know sometimes some of that shit goes into your fucking eye. Like,
right?
It's not he's not the first guy this ever happened to.
I mean, listen, right? I used to work. I worked in the industry for a while. The things that got into people's eyes, I'm not going to mention them here. It's a Sunday show, but nobody ever stopped and said, "Oh, hey, hold on, my eye, time out." And that was in the industry. So if those guys are tough, I expect a boxer to be even tougher.
Except when the cameraman gets sprayed, right? Like he's like, "Oh, fuck."
Well, I used to have the patented BDA sneeze guard, so that such events never occurred. But so recognize you're not saying then that Tank Davis's face was all red because of the spray that got sprayed back at him, the Roach spray. Okay, just to clarify,
there's some type of reaction he's having. It's a stimulant reaction, or he's not taking care of himself. And here's another sign. Here's another sign of a man that doesn't take care of himself. The tattoos all over the body, everywhere. It covers all your skin because you don't want to look at it. You don't want people.
It's makeup. It's makeup for dudes. All right, recognize.
It's like it's makeup for dudes. Exactly. It's the makeup for the body. You know, you heard of like the sleeve tattoo. He has a body suit of tattoos. I don't think
you know what? That makes some sense because I got I think I've told people on the Discord before. I've got the Red Dragon. You remember that Red Dragon from the movie there with Hannibal Lecter? I got the same. I got the Red Dragon tattoo all over the place. Look at that. So maybe I'm hiding something. I definitely am hiding something. So you know what?
Something. I know you are.
Psychologically, you're right. It's interesting. Definitely. Every time some of these boxers would get in some sort of a midlife crisis or whatever, they would get tattoos. Remember when Mosley divorced his wife? All of a sudden, he gets a tattoo. Tyson, when he was going through his drug thing, face tattoo. Cotto, when he got into it with his uncle, tattoos. It's something psychologically. Yeah, you're right. About getting that much.
I get it. Like we're recognizing when you're drinking. We talked about it. Like that Eddie Gomez, the promoter for Golden Boy. You got that red look. It's happened to me. your face gets sensitive.
Interesting.
Yeah, where your shit just gets flushed.
Or he was having a stimulant reaction. There's some stimulants he's taken, and he had a bad reaction to it, or he's been having bad reactions to it. Maybe he was able to get through it. Maybe not in this fight so much
Maybe,
in the past.
maybe it's the Botox. Maybe he's getting Botox. Having a bad reaction.
Hey man, maybe he got into like.
Here's the
thing about Tank that I've been noticing for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tank was a guy who clearly has a lot of talent, and he could be fun to watch, but he chose not to progress. How can you look at that Pedraza fight 7 years ago and tell me that he's a worse fighter today than he was back then? He's
That's a great
actually
point.
a worse fighter than he was. Go look at his punching selection in that fight versus now. Of course, different style. That guy's coming at him, but still, it's a young dude. It's a guy who's 7 to 8 years younger. Okay, and his punch selection was actually pretty fucking good for a guy his age and his experience, right? And nothing after that. There's no.
You have the money to do 7 fucking day yayo trips.
Nah, come on.
Doing boogers for fucking 7 straight days while staying shit faced.
I remember in 2018. I want to say 2018. Stu used to come on the show back then. He would say he was high on Tank Davis, and he said, "I'm high on Tank Davis, but I don't like the way they're moving his career. He's not fighting anybody." Fast forward 7 years, it's the same thing. Nothing really changed other than the smokes and mirrors that they applied to his career. It's interesting, man. 7 years ago, that's what he said. And
look at Cepeda. You got fucking Keyshawn Davis. Fucking the kid nobody likes. You're up, right? And you got the fucking Shakur Stevenson. You got so many guys at 135, and you go and reach outside the division to defend your title. Like you drag a fucking kid up, right? From 130.
Yeah.
Who is a 16-1 underdog, man. You can't let that pass, dude. That is like crazy. 16-1.
Well, yeah, and
Underdog.
that's the reason I don't think the commission will ultimately have something against Willis, because Vegas would have lost a lot of money. The A-Sider would have lost a lot of money. It's kind of like I listened to an interview where Octavio Mayran, the guy that refereed the Mike Tyson versus Douglas, if they would have counted out Douglas when Tyson knocked him out first, and Mike Tyson would have won, they would have been happy. But when he did the right thing, he was supposed to get paid like $25,000. He only got paid $2,500 by the WBC, and they actually fired him. He never refereed again. So by Willis doing this, he basically saved the A-side fighter, and a lot of people didn't lose their money. So in the end of the day, they might seem like they're mad at him, but really they're not going to do anything about it.
He should have his fucking referee's license suspended. Period. What should have happened last night is he should have turned to the timekeeper, caught up with his count, and just kept his fingers at Tank's face, right? Got up to 8, and then when he saw fucking the dude with his granny glasses, wears those ropes on his glasses, freaks me out, runs up there, wipes his face, he should have waved. Fight's over. Disqualified. You came up on the apron of the fucking ring during the middle of a round and wiped your fighter's face. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and
then end of story. Those are fundamental fucking rules in boxing that are not up for interpretation. You take a knee, it's a standing 8 count. Your fucking corner gets up on the apron in the middle of a fight and puts their hands on you. It's a fucking disqualification. Both fundamental, emphatic rules that were broken. And what does asshole fucking bug guy Willis do? Don't do that again. You made me look like an asshole.
Yeah, like
Literally
Butcher
said that.
You know, like Butcher said, if
he said it looked like a knockdown because it was.
Yeah, if Willis would have made the correct call, he doesn't get a job. He doesn't keep his job. That's the reality. Yeah, okay. So listen, we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. We got Barboza and Teofimo Lopez are going to be fighting in May, I believe. The same on Garcia Romero undercard, Haney versus Ramirez. Haney had a lot to say, by the way, too. Haney said, "What happened to the backflip from Tank Davis?" Yeah, we didn't see the backflip this time. I wonder why. So a lot of things happen. Oh, the other thing is real quick. There was a fight, and I can't show the clips, man. But Paddy Donovan took on Lewis Crocker over in England and hit him after the bell, and they disqualified him. But if you watched, speaking of bad officiating, the referee, the guy who looks like Prince Andrew, is like 3 feet away from the fighters. Look, I understand not every referee knows how much time is exactly left in the round, but usually you'll see most competent referees, when that 10-second mark gets hit, tack, 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 10 seconds, they start getting closer to the fighters so that they can separate them when the bell rings. This dude is walking around, waltzing around, looking at the action. What did he think was going to happen? And this is the third time that I remember this guy making a horrible mistake like that. He's a bad referee. I don't know what they do over there at the BBOC, lest you think that it's only in the United States that you get incompetence. No, it's in the UK as well. And he ended up disqualifying the guy for the other guy too, Crocker. Donovan. He shouldn't have hit him after the bell either. That's on him. But at the same time, the referee's also at fault because where was he? Standing 3-4 feet away from the action when he should have been in there to intervene as soon as the bell rings. Just a shit show all around.
And can I add one thing, Mr. B-Day? This has nothing to do with Tank. ESPN, can I just say how glad I am that they're getting out of boxing? I got to say what they did to that fucking Ukrainian kid was disgusting. Listen, everybody in boxing knew 24 hours before the fucking Davis fight took place that it was Teofimo Lopez who sent the fucking fruit basket.
We don't know that.
Fucking,
we don't know that.
What's that?
We don't know that.
Dude, come on. He took the video laughing, eating a banana. Like he put it out there. They knew it was him, right? But because the ESPN's woke, it is nothing they like better than calling white people racist. They threw that Ukrainian, the big story, and there was fucking Mark Kriegel. And they didn't call the police because they didn't want to Keyshawn get his mind off the fight. No, they didn't call the police because being racist isn't illegal, you fucking meathead.
It should be, by the way. That's how we feel about it here at
but
the
it just isn't, right?
Well,
you're arrested for sending a fucking fruit basket?
Sending somebody fruits isn't illegal. Like, what the fuck were they going to say?
It was the intention.
It was the intention behind the fruits. Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. So, but the thing is, they knew. Everybody in boxing knew. Davis knew. Keyshawn Davis said, "Yeah, once we saw the video, we knew it was Teofimo Lopez because what happened at that time when Davis's people beat the shit out of fucking Teofimo's dad, and he's never got over it. So he's the one who did it. Listen, that was childish and fucking goofy. You know what I mean? You don't do that, right? But the bottom line is, ESPN knew that, but they still had to make a whole production. And they just threw that Ukrainian kid who can't even speak English. He's like, yeah, what do you think? He stopped by fucking, and you just think about it. Got off the plane. I got to shoot over to the supermarket, grab some watermelon bananas. Like, just shut the fuck up. ESPN sucks. I'm glad they're out of boxing.
Yeah, ESPN. It's ESPN and Top Rank, and hopefully, if they make it over to the zone starts telling them what they can and can't do, because they need to stop really pushing these boring ass fighters and start pushing guys that are actually entertaining. And again, without having to go into racial overtones or racial narratives the way they did over there. You're absolutely right. And by the way, also,
I have a problem too with, since Bob's leaving, right? Checking out, like he's starting to really check out mentally. I don't like the way his son-in-law is just handling the shit. I think this was one of the past year was one who would take Top Rank's worst.
Absolutely. I can't even remember the most memorable event to me of 2024 was the doubleheader between Espinosa and Ramirez, the rematch, and the rematch the same night between Navarrete and Valdez. That was the most memorable card. Other than that, people walking away out of the Shakur Stevenson fight? I mean, that's it. I mean, they really, Top Rank and ESPN is at fault too, because they never went all in with boxing. They went in there half-baked and it showed. But at the same time, Top Rank is, you're supposed to be the best promotional outfit out there. You sign a multi-year agreement with this company, and you let them, shake you around like that, putting on these mediocre fights in the 2024. I mean, I don't know. It's hopefully with the zone and the Sheik, the association that the Sheik has with them. Hopefully that makes boxing great again, as it were. Yeah, listen, I want to talk more.
So yeah, BDA.
Yes.
Can I say one thing about that? Because I know, we were talking about what happened with Hamza Shiraz and Turkey, and people were saying people were really upset about it. They're saying, "Oh, the corruption's evident." I was saying that too, right? And what really bothered me though when I heard them ask Gervonta Davis about it, and he goes, "Yeah, man, it's such stuff's different over there. People getting sick and stuff, and like it's like some devil shit." Like he sounds like an idiot because you're saying people getting sick and people get sick everywhere. That's something so stupid to say. And then for him to say that, oh, it's corruption, whatever. There's videos of him. There's a video of Floyd Mayweather going up to him when he was fighting Mario Barrios, right? Telling him he was down.
That's right.
He needed to pick it up. So it's the exact same thing. And he's gonna try to act like, oh, they're on some other devil stuff over there. You just don't want it. You just don't like it when you feel like you're not the one who's in charge or who can cheat.
Well, think about it. Like
So
people, sobers, like people mentioned, if this fight, the Roach fight, would have taken place over in Saudi Arabia, without Steve Willis, without A-side advantages, Tank Davis walks away with a loss on his record. That's why he doesn't want to go over there.
Exactly. So what I wanted to say was, people were getting up in arms about the corruption and that we seen in that night, but then we saw this PPC card, right? And we seen like 2 robberies on it already. So that's regular. I almost forgot how regular that is with the PPC. So I was like, man, just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, good riddance to bad rubbish. Get that company the fuck out of boxing.
There you go. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they can make anything happen this year. Again, they got Fundora fighting. I think that's the next PBC card. It's free. They're making a big deal about the fact that it's free, but it's Fundora. Hold on, who is it? It's ESPN, Amazon Prime. Sebastian Fundora versus Cordale Booker for Fundora's WBC and WBO straps. You got Elijah Garcia versus Terrell Gaucher, and the return of El Mono Ramos taking on Kevin Salgado. And that's all they've got on pen right now. The next card is probably going to be when Benavides fights or Tank Davis fights, but who knows when that's going to be. Possibly next year. Hey, listen, think about it. We might have seen the last of Tank Davis and Benavides this year. Maybe, or maybe they fight late
Perhaps.
in 20.
No, quite possibly, BDA. We might see him again in January next year.
Yeah, early 2026. When a couple of months away from the World Cup. That's how far away the next Tank Davis Benavides fights are. Well, listen, fellas, we got to move on. We got to go here. But shout out to everybody who called in, everybody that donated with the Buy Me a Coffee app, everybody that, like I said, everybody. Hey, hold on, everybody that jumped in. Jimmy, good to have him back. Gonzalo, Never Sobers, Recognize was here. Bucho, shout out to you fellas. Really appreciate it. Always good to have you guys on board. We'll try to be back this week with, there's not much going on next Saturday. So we're going to have to come up with some gimmick episodes. Me and Chief are going to work on some stuff. And, because next week, what? Peacock TV, Natasha Jonas, Lawrence. Oh, that's female boxing. Okay, so there's no boxing actually Saturday for all intents and purposes. So we'll see what we can do. We'll scrunch up a couple of gimmick episodes. So shout out to all the panelists, everybody who called in, everybody in the chat, Earl Stevens, shout out to the Earl, the Quags, Eparokua, Reverend Pickles, Honker Mustang, Alfredo Contreras, Warrior Way, Baron Evola. If I forgot anybody, fellas, because we gotta go eat.